What up? What up? What up, podcast party people? How you doing? How you living? How you feeling? How you surviving out there in internet land, podcast land, wherever you are watching this, listening to this, absorbing this into your cellular membranes? Maybe you're high, maybe you're at work, maybe you're driving a truck. I just had a dude tell me the other day, he's like, I drive a truck, this shit's the best shit ever. Right on, man. Glad you dig it. Glad you're digging it. Glad you're digging it. I'm digging it too. I got the Twitch twats watching me do the intro. Sometimes they get to see the interviews, but most of the time they don't because fucking internet in my goddamn room sucks, and I often have to change my Zoom call to my phone, which is ridiculous, but that's the way it is. That's the way it is here in Oakland. Let's see. What do we got going on? You know what we got going on? First of all, we got Dez Fafara, DevilDriver, Coal Chamber on the show. Yes, great conversation. We go through Dez's all kinds of crazy shit. All of his crazy life. Some good stuff, man. It's a really good interview. I hadn't talked to him for a while. I've probably toured more with Dez Fafara than any human being on the planet Earth. I think I did 6 or 7 Coal Chamber tours with them. Did 4 or 5 DevilDriver tours, like festivals. Man, like a lot of touring since we played our first show together in 1995. December 1995, Troubadour, Los Angeles. It was the final night of the Burn My Eyes world tour. We had been touring for 16 months. Last tour that we did was in the U.S., and we ended at the Troubadour. They were the support act, local band, hot L.A. band, and I believe they had just signed with Roadrunner at that point. But I had already heard about them. I'd already heard their demos, and I'd already been checking them out because there was a buzz on them, and I knew all the bands that had the buzz. But I tell you what, before we get into that, I want to say yesterday, a bunch of album anniversaries came up. So check this out. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of Blizzard of Oz by Ozzy Osbourne. 40 years ago. Oh, my God. Fucking record was amazing. I don't know if I heard it when it dropped. I remember hearing about it, and I can't remember exactly when I heard it, but first song I heard was Crazy Train, and shit fucking blew my mind. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, that fucking riff, so catchy. It's like a disco beat. Dun, 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 dun. Killer lyrics. Mental wounds not healing. Who and what's to blame? Lyrics about politicians and everybody's going crazy. Oh my God, it's fucking. And then it's even crazier is that the day before, my youngest son Wyatt is taking. He's got an online music class. He's been playing cello for a few years now, and he's doing at his school. He's been in the school band, playing cello and other things. And so now he's playing bass, electric bass, and even stand-up bass. So I've got a stand-up bass at my house now, and I've got an electric bass that he's playing. That's cool. And so I brought home a guitar amp for him, and so I got it set up with I was like, this is what Cliff Burton would have done. He would have cranked the distortion and cranked the delay and cranked the flange and the phaser. So he put all that shit on there. He's like, oh my God, this sounds awesome, Dad. I'm like, yeah. This is what the bass, the regular bass sounds cool, no doubt about it. But you throw all this shit on there, and then I played him Anesthesia Pulling Teeth for the first time. He'd never heard it. He was like, oh wow, because he's really into classical and that, do dee doo dee doo dee doo, wow, all that type of stuff just blew him away. But so he's been doing some bass, and so every weekend we have we set aside some time. Okay, we're gonna jam. I'm gonna teach you something. I'm gonna work on, so he knows The Trooper by Iron Maiden. He already knows Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley. He knows, a bunch of stuff. And then So on Saturday, we started messing around with Crazy Train, which I play, I play on my Twitch channel, and I, play regularly because it's just fun. I play Randy Rhoads stuff a lot because I love Randy. He's a huge, huge, massive influence on me. But we were jamming it, and it was just, he got it down super quick, and we're working on it, and then I'm playing guitar, he's going do 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 do. So we work on it. We're jamming it. We jammed it probably like 4 or 5 times, and I was just like, "Fuck, that was awesome!" It was just rad playing Crazy Train with my 13-year-old son on bass, and I'm on guitar, and I gave him some homework. I was like, "This is your homework, all right? I want you to listen to that song, and really, the bass is really loud on that record. The Bob Daisley bass lines are fucking awesome, like killer bass player. I mean, like a bass player's bass player, like so much cool shit going on." And I was like, just listen to the bass, listen to what he's doing, and try and memorize the things that he's doing, so that when you go back to play this with me, like you kind of know what he's doing. And I'll play the guitar, and then the next day I get the thing, I see Tom Morello. I follow Tom Morello on Instagram from Rage Against the Machine. And he's just like, 40-year anniversary, like 40-year anniversary. Holy crap. Like, I just can't believe that much time went by. But man, what a record. What a fucking album. Like, the pain in Ozzy's voice on that album is fucking incredible. There's just so much ache and heartache in his voice. And, I've always loved Goodbye to Romance, but I played it yesterday on Spotify. I worked out with my older son. I took my son, like, all right, we're going to work out. So I kind of set aside time that one day I do something with Wyatt and spend a good amount of time with him, and the next day I do something with Xander and spend a good amount of time. We've been driving. I've been teaching him how to drive, take him to the parking lot, like, kind of, this is how you back up. This is how you go forward. And so Xander wanted to work out. So we worked out, and I played that record, and it was like, I hadn't listened to that record top to bottom in forever. I mean, I know the songs, but I hadn't listened to it uninterrupted top to bottom. And the special edition that they got now, they've got this version of Goodbye to Romance that's just Randy and Ozzy. So there's no drums, there's no bass, and it, not even like no keyboards. So like even like that keyboard line at the end, like that's not even there. It's just hearing what Randy was doing, to accompany the keyboard part. And it was really fucking cool, man. Like, I gotta say, I'd never heard that, and I was just in a trance listening to Randy. And there's so much Beatles on there too. You can can hear so much of the Beatles in that particular song. Ozzy dug deep, pulled out some John Lennon-esque, Paul McCartney-esque type of stuff on there that was really just cool to wrap my head around again. And like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot about all this stuff. So it was a cool vibe. It was a cool vibe listening to it. And it was just a trip to be playing Crazy Train the day before, and then it's the 40-year anniversary. And then today I read that it was the anniversary of The Fragile by 9 Inch Nails. And I just covered We Are In This Together Now on Friday's Acoustic Happy Hour, which was even crazier. And I was like, wow, like what the fuck is with all these crazy anniversaries here that are coinciding with music that I'm playing, which is just strange. And I guess it's the 25th anniversary of that record. I was like, God damn. So 40th anniversary of Blizzard of Oz, 25th anniversary of The Fragile, which has got some jams. I got to say, I've been kind of digging back in. I don't know if I missed that record. I don't know if maybe I didn't like it when it came out. I don't remember. I don't really know that many songs off of that album. So I've been jumping down that rabbit hole, listening to all those songs and remembering those. And fucking Trent Reznor's a genius. Jesus Christ. Fuck, man. Dude's awesome. He is awesome. But anyway, that's what's been going on in my world. Some fucking cool music. A lot of music. Listening to a lot of music. Working out. And listening to tons of music. All right, let me get my sponsor here. Where's my sponsor at? Oh my God, are you kidding me? Oh, that's awesome. Anyway, my No Fucking Regrets is brought to you by Nuclear Blast. Nuclear Blast is the seminal heavy metal label in the universe right now. They have got 2 massive warehouses, one in Germany, one in the U.S. If you're a fan of physical products, CDs, vinyl, all cassettes, like all kind, they got tons of shit, box sets. They've got ridiculous physical product that they've done. They've got bands such as Machine Head. They got Slayer. They got Exodus. They've got Testament, Heathen. Pretty much every Bay Area band. Forbidden was on there. They've got vinyl of that. They also sell other labels' vinyl, which is something that I think is cool. And so if you head over to nuclearblast.com, you can check out everything that they got. They got some cool shit, though, man. They got Paul Bearer just dropped a new record. I'm sure they got some cool vinyl stuff, so check that out. This is presented to you on the Gas Digital Network. Gas Digital has tons of awesome podcasts. If you're into podcasts, if you like my podcast, you will probably love The Josta Show. Jamie Josta. Jamie Josta is my mentor in the podcasting game. He's the guy who basically inspired me to do this. They've got political stuff. They've got their #1 show, which is Legion of Skanks. And head over there. Check it out. If you feel like subscribing to my channel, if you enter the code NFR, you can get 10% off and the first 2 weeks for free. That's right. Let me say that again. Enter code NFR. Subscribe to my channel. You get 10% off and you get the first 2 weeks free. It's a win-win. You know, motherfuckers are always going, Rob, how can I support you? I know you're like not touring anymore. Subscribing to that stuff really helps. So if you want to do that, and you get the podcast a couple of days early so that you can talk about it, you know all your friends. I'm actually going to start putting content up there that isn't going to be available on Spotify. It'll only be available there. So probably more like one-man podcasts, you know, where I talk about this, that, or the other thing. I'll talk about records I love, or I'll talk about politics, or I'll talk about jerking off, or whatever. Stuff. So, and then I'll leave the interviews will be more for like the Spotifys and stuff. So, so again, NFR, 10% off, first 14 days free, gasdigitalnetwork.com. This week's sponsor is The Perfect Bar. And if you didn't know, The Perfect Bar is fucking perfect. And because it's the season, you know what season it is. God damn it. It's pumpkin pie everything season. Pumpkin lattes, pumpkin pie this, pumpkin pie that. Perfect Bar just dropped the pumpkin pie bar. Get the fuck out of here. 14 grams of protein, 20 plus superfoods. Yes, they are. I got to say, I love these things. I eat these all the time. They're fucking great. Our story here is a little nuttier than most. 13 kids, a family bus, and a whole lot of love. The story of Perfect Snacks is a wild one. It started with our dad, Bud, a self-proclaimed health nut, and his passion for nutrition. He led the family on cross-country adventures for an anything is possible type of childhood. So when we started the business after Dad got sick, we banded together knowing 2 truths. Whole foods and family is the answer. Now, 15 years later, we learned that our greatest adventure is a refrigerated protein snack. And that's what I think is cool about it. It's a refrigerated bar as opposed to the other ones. And they got all kinds of flavors. They sell this shit at Costco where it's they sell like a multi-pack. And this one has like almond, it's got peanut butter, and then it's got chocolate almond. But if you go to perfectsnacks.com, they got hella flavors. They got peanut butter. They got dark chocolate chip and peanut butter. They got milk chocolate. They got dark chocolate peanut butter. They got dark chocolate coconut. They got little snack packs for kids, chocolate peanut butter snack packs. All of them are super high in protein. Super high in protein. The carbs, you know, for me, I think I've told you guys this. Oh, they got coconut peanut butter. I eat 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, 6 times a day. So that's my food thing. And this thing, even though it sometimes put me over on the fat, the peanut butter bar one is like 24 grams of protein. It's exactly 30 grams of carbs. And it's a little over on the fat. I want to say it's like 12 or 14 or something like that. But it's fucking good. And you know what? Sometimes you're just in a hurry. Sometimes you just need to go you need to just jam on and fucking grab something, this is perfect. Like the name says, it is perfect. They got peanut butter cups, 7 grams of protein, which is not very much. It's probably more just like a candy. But this does come with 20 plus superfoods in it. Superfoods. Ooh, they got a dark chocolate mint peanut butter cup. That sounds amazing. That sounds super amazing. Oh my God, I'm going to have to get one of those. So it's basically like a healthy Reese's peanut butter cup, okay? You know what I'm saying? It's a healthy Reese's peanut butter cup with superfoods, and it's organic, and it's good. Yeah, it's all kinds of good stuff. So, head over to perfectsnacks.com. Check them out. I could read this whole thing forever with you, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wrap it up here. But they're killer. They're awesome. Once again, perfectsnacks.com, sponsoring No Fucking Regrets. And let's see here. I'm going to check you over to this. I'm going to get into the Dez interview here. First song I ever heard by Cold Chamber was this demo right here. The demo. What do we got? Why aren't you playing? There you go. This is the Loco. This is the Cold Chamber demo, 94. This is the song Loco. I wonder when this was made. It doesn't say. Yeah, they got more of like a metal guitar tone too, you know? Like, I think on the album it was more kind of like a new metal sound, but like this is more like metallic, Machine Head, you know, Groove Factory vibe. Double bass. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's that right there. You guys remember that? That was the big song. That was a huge song for them. Like fucking gigantic. But this one right here, everybody remembers this one. I don't know if anybody else liked this song. I just remember touring. We did so many shows with them. And I just remember this song. Look back, try to remember. This is Bradley. My name sounds so familiar. So, these letters are driving me crazy. They're driving me so fucking crazy. They're making me so angry. Bradley, remember. Oddity. Raina with some low end. This is the way it's got to be. 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 You remember this song? This is the way it's got to be. This is the way it's got to be. This is the way it's got to be. Korn, eat your heart out. And this was probably one of the most popular songs they had.
Bitch.
Big Truck. If you were a Coal Chamber fan, this was your jam. This shit brought the house down. Big Truck. They might have closed with this. No, I think they might have closed with Sway. The Roof on Fire. I can't remember. I just remember people fucking like crazy for this shit.
Too small, don't compromise. So how fast, too fast, don't realize. I'm half hand on wheel, let's have the side strive with me. I'm too fast, don't realize. So how fast, too fast, don't recognize. I'm half hand on wheel, let's have the side strive with me.
From the next album, I always think this is a cool guitar thing. This is from Chamber Music. This is Sherry Vegas. Meeg Drescone with a cool guitar intro.
That guilt is you denied will only defeat you. So stay clean for me, cause that's what you should do. That gaze in your eyes, remember when you died. X that memory for the next sunrise. So pleased to meet you, Sherry. 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 I've come clean.
And then you remember Ozzy did this cover, Peter Gabriel cover, which I love the original. I love Peter Gabriel. I'm such a huge Peter Gabriel fan. I went and saw Peter Gabriel back in the day from this area. Sledgehammer era. That Ozzy appeared on it. I think that Ozzy did was he in the chorus? Oh, there he is.
Cover me, darling, please. Hey, monkey, don't you know you gotta take the monkey? Hey.
This is off of the And there was this song, Rowboat. I remember the first time I heard this song, they were opening for Drowning Pool, and I was at the Fillmore, and the record had just dropped, and I don't think I had heard it yet, but I remember this. I remember this lyric because of seeing it live all this time. That it's a pretty good chorus when you can remember it all those years later. All right, let's get into it. There you go. But then after this record, DevilDriver jam for me will always be this song. Fucking love this song. Off of the second album, dude, this shit is a banger. Banger. Cool intro. When Jonzo was on here, I played a lot more DevilDriver when Jonzo was on here. I played a bunch more of the DevilDriver songs. But he told me a great story about how he wrote this, and him and his bass player stayed up all night on an 8-ball of coke, like writing this whole intro. They played it the next day, like, hey, check out this intro we wrote. It's fucking really cool. Really cool piece of music. Heavy. That shit's heavy. Yeah. Let's get to this part. This is the jam right here. Jam right there. This is the new track. He's got a new record dropping. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest track from DevilDriver, Nest of Vipers. I bring to you from Coal Chamber, DevilDriver, from Oracle Management, from Sun Cult Surf Company. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Dez Fafara.
Dez,
how are you? Good to see you.
what's happening, man? Yeah, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Fuck, it's been a while.
Yeah, man.
It's been a while.
It has.
I was trying to remember. I was like, when was the last time I fucking hung out with Dez? I can't remember right now.
I think DevilDriver was DevilDriver was in San Francisco and you came out to the show.
Right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, so I would say.
Yeah, that's right. You were with who were you guys with?
A couple years ago, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys came to the Regency though. We hung out.
Yeah. How you been? You been good? How's the family?
Doing good, man. My boys are 16 and 13. My 16-year-old's like 6'3" and just a gigantic, like he's like Marmaduke walking around the house, just paws and feet and hands. And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I got three sons all in their 20s. My youngest just turned 23 the other day. And Caleb is 26, working for Oracle Management here and managing a bunch of bands. And,
oh, shit.
My oldest is 26. So, yeah, you got buddies there at 16. Those are your bros right there.
Well, you know, the 13-year-old for sure. The 16-year-old is kind of like, what do you want? Dad, what? Out of my room. What? Get out of here.
Out of my room.
What do you want? Out of my room, Dad.
You. Probably reminds you of you.
Totally. I'm just like, what? I'm just coming in to say what's up, dude.
Get
Like,
out of my
that's
room.
it.
That's hilarious.
Get out of my room. What are you doing? What does it matter? It's like,
Family life's
it's
awesome.
that stage. It's that stage. So I'm like, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no matter
it's
what
all
you
good.
do, the kids are always cooler than you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, my 13-year-old is still like, he'll come up and be like, hug me, like, what's up, Dad? How you doing? I'm like, all right, I'll cherish this for the next year that I have it. You know,
It's pretty badass.
I'm sure it's gonna go well.
My youngest, I run bands through and everything, and have him check them out and stuff. And it's interesting to watch their perspective. You know, on something I listened to from a long time ago that I love, or a brand new band that I found. Maybe I'm listening to a demo of somebody new, and then to hear their perspective on stuff. That's shit.
Right.
Or that's incredible. I'm like, I really don't like that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, totally. I know sometimes I play them some old stuff that I love, and I'm just like, this is the shit. Like, this is the best. And like, it's okay.
It's all right. It takes you down much. It's good to hear everything's good.
Yeah. Are you guys near the fires or anything?
We are relatively not near them, but we're near enough where I'm now watching closely what's going to happen. And, in 2019, we had to flee the house.
Man,
I take
I
them
heard
down my
about that.
street with bullhorns going, get out. I took my Great Dane, my Doberman, my 3 cats, 2 bags, left my vintage cars, and bailed. And I told my kids, I said, we're not going to see this again, because I open the front door and I look up, and 300 feet up the hill is just raging.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking inferno. And I thought, that's it.
Fucking
and we live in
crazy.
a little valley where if the wind changed a certain direction, it's going to be a firestorm. There was nothing they could have done, but really brave men and women up there fighting that. And when we finally came back to the house, a lot of them were actually crashed out on the front lawns outside of the houses and stuff, like, because they've been fighting all day, all night.
Yeah.
And we brought them out food and water and stuff. And I live in the same neighborhood as my sister and my brother. So everybody's kind of cooking meals and trying to bring out water for them and everything. And it was insane. It was intense.
That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was 2019. It was just an insane year for us. And then we hit 2020 and oh yeah.
It was preparing you for 2020. That's what it was.
I guess so. I mean, it was a really tumultuous year. It was like Wildfires. And after that, I was like, great, got a double record done. Going to do 3 years of touring straight on a staggered release. Let's go. We found out my wife had cancer. Then we all had to rally around her, beat that as a family. I tore down tours. Then come into 2020. Okay, great. Got a double record. Let's get some touring done. Pandemic, riots, civil unrest.
Right.
So,
yeah, man.
You just got to keep your head up through this stuff. A lot of people are going through rough times right now. So you try to remember that, you're blessed. I got a house roof above me right now, and I'm not in jeopardy of that. But thanks for asking about the wildfires, because we've been watching that real close.
I mean, that's a hell of a lot to go through. I mean, I got to say, I remember hearing about, I think we even spoke at some point around the time that Anastasia came down with that. And that's like, that's awesome, and super happy to hear that she got through that. That's fucking rad. She's awesome. I remember her hanging out back in the day. She was fucking always super nice, super cool, very friendly.
Yeah. All the years I've been with her, almost 24, 25 years. I never heard her say a bad word about anybody, I may be like, fuck that guy or whatever. And she's like, hey, that's not how
did you guys get together around like 99? Is that when you guys got together?
98, early 98.
98. Okay. Right.
But I was living in the Beverly Hills Hotel. Sharon Osbourne had put me up there between tours, and she had seen me at a funeral and didn't want to approach me, obviously, at Lynn Straight's funeral. And then 2 weeks later, I was at Ozzy's house having dinner, and his assistant was going to the House of Blues. And I was like, man, I'm not partying. You know me, I'm really private. And I was like, I'm not partying. I'm not going out. I'm after dinner, I'm going back to the hotel. And he's like, just come with me. I'll be there like an hour. And as I was walking in, she was walking out. And first thing I said to her when I saw her, I was like, what do we have here? Like, what a line. It should have got me like.
What's your opening line? What do we have here?
Like, what do we have here?
That's a terrible pickup line.
It's so fucking terrible. And at the time too, I'm like, give me your pager number, or stay with me tonight or whatever, and I'll be here forever. It's like, So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it's great. Thanks.
That's
Lily.
awesome.
We're all really, really happy. We rallied around her as a family. She actually sat here at this spot at the family tiki bar, which is massive and lights and everything going on. And she sat here and beat that thing. You know, I'm sober, but she would have cocktails and listen to Donna Summer. She, you know, she loves certain stuff, you know, and she
Right.
beat it. She beat it. So anybody who's going through it, cancer, or struggling, or has beat it, or is not going to beat it, or I feel for you. I mean, I know what that's like. It was an early morning. We were kicking back at the house, getting ready to do some work, and got a phone call, and her face went white, like ghost. And I was like, what? She's already redhead and pale, you know? And she literally looked like someone sucked the life out of her. And I looked at her, I said, what's going on? And she put it on speaker. And the woman's like, yeah, you got to come in. You have cancer. And went up, woke up my boys, and
Jeez.
yeah.
What was the, what did she have? What was the, was there like a certain, you know, I know there's a bunch of different kinds, but.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had to go through 2 operations. They had to go into lymph nodes as well and check that out. But because she's so pale, and people don't realize this, especially in California, right, that melanoma kills more people than breast cancer, more people than heart attacks. So it was a severe melanoma on her leg, and then we didn't know if it got into her lymph nodes, and that was the thing we were all scared about. But, you know, oddly enough, we have a company called Sun Cult, and the back of the shirt, the original shirt, is Worship the Sun. And we were sitting at the beach, and she always sits under I set up a big tent for her, redhead, you know, and I came in from surfing, and she says, you know, this mole on my leg, like, it's really been bugging me. Something's going on with that. And I looked over, and I was like, was inside of her leg. And I said, hey, man, no, we're going in tomorrow. And sure enough, you know, good thing I think we beat it. And then it was really odd too. The doctors were like, listen, we're going to, you know, we'll wait 6-8 months and you can come in and whatever. And I got like Italian and indignant. I was like, wait, what? I said, she's coming in fucking next week, and you're going to schedule this fucking appointment. And like, I got like on it. Right. And I pushed it through. Within 2 weeks, she was in, going through stuff, and it had nothing to do with like money or any of that. It just had to do with the fact that I was like, wrong. She's not sitting here for 8 weeks, and none of us can do that either. I'm like, I can't sit here for that long. And then, you know,
that's a long time. That's a long time. That's fucking way too long.
You've been married a long time, and you totally get it. I mean, that's my rock. That's my best friend. I was insane when she found me, and she put me together, and boom, you know, we've got a family unit here. And so thanks for asking. She's good. She's actually in the kitchen right now, getting her dreads worked on. She's got dreads, so she got to.
Oh, right. Yeah. Did she have to change any like diet or like lifestyle or? Man,
we're already. I mean, I'm sober. She rarely will drink. We're vegan. We eat so it's insane. She does yoga. I do yoga. We meditate. I run 4 or 5 miles a day. She walks 2 miles a day with me in the morning with the dogs. You know, you got to walk the dog, and I take long walks with the dogs. And so, no, I mean, it just, you can't be healthy enough for something like that to hit you. Melanoma. When we went into the doctor, he started telling us about, in San Diego, this guy was great. And he started telling me about melanoma. He started telling me about how insane it is and how it takes out people, like just takes them out. So, you know, now we're really aware. You know, we've got a pool, but it's like 10 minutes in the sun, 15 minutes in the sun, and you're out.
Right.
You know, and let's it's warm. Let's go night swimming. You know.
I mean, all that exercise is super healthy for you too. I mean, even not just like from a health standpoint. I mean, like for your mind. You know, so much of like beating cancer is, you know, everybody's told me, it's like your mindset, man. It's your mindset, like just trying to stay positive.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we meditate every morning together, and we do yoga together. And the yoga she does is intense. I'm still intermediate, but I'm good. I'm intermediate. And she's on a regiment, you know, and, you know, green drinks and red drinks and, you know, the whole gig. So
yeah. That shit's hard too, dude. Yoga's fucking, I've been doing that shit for a while too. It's fucking so ridiculously hard.
It is.
You know, I mean, just especially for all the drugs I've done throughout my life, my muscles are just like, you can't bend that way. What are you thinking?
And it's finding the drugs that you did in like 95 and going click. And you're like, whoa, I feel high all of a sudden.
Totally right.
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, my family.
I was. What's that? Go ahead.
My family's everything to me. You know, I think it's with everybody. Everybody's family's everything to them. But I mean, I'm Italian. My family's everything to me. My sons, my wife, you know, we have a 2:00 sit down every Sunday for a meal. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. You're here. You can bring your girlfriend, can bring your roommate, can bring your best friend, but you're here till 4:35, and then you can split. And I'm up early making gravy and making sauce. You know.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We kind of do. We have like Sunday's like the family day for sure. You know, like
yeah, and it has to be. It's
kind of
with teenagers for you. That's the time the kid starts eating and starts like opening up about Billy next door that was an asshole or whatever. You know.
Right. Exactly. Like how, all the things they've been going through. And, you know, it's such a weird time too, because they never leave now. Like, you know, it used to be, I'd take them to school. They were gone for a while, then they come back, and then they had this, that, or the other thing, sports, a lot of sports. And then now it's like just everything's just, you know, come to a standstill, and they're just home the whole time. And it's cool that they started school, because now at least there's a regiment, like, you know, I really feel like kids need structure. You know, like they need some kind of structure, regular thing. And, you know, just from lockdown through the whole summer, it was just like, I'm just going to look at my phone the whole time. I'm like, okay, we got to do something else than look at anime on the phone. Okay, let's fucking.
Yeah, I think we took advantage of this time, especially with Simon, my youngest. He's going to coding school. So he'll be done in March, and he can make $250,000-$300,000 a year, you know, but he's got two educations, one on the street, and you know, music, and one here, because he's also working on his record. So we took advantage of that, and we would have his producer, who's a great kid, quarantine for, you know, 2 weeks or whatever, and then he would come down here to my home studio. They've been laying his record, so now he's got a 6-song EP done, and he's been coding. So he has left the house. He's left the house, and this is my youngest, who's just turned 23. I mean, he's left the house maybe 6 times since January. Right. I mean, we locked down in January. So in December, we saw this coming. And I told everybody in my family that all lives around me, and my mom has a ranch up near me, and I said, hey, this is coming to America. Everybody's going to go on lockdown. We're all going to be shut down. It was like, you're insane. No way in hell. No way in hell is that going to happen in the United States. And I said, well, whatever you want to do, that's cool. But I'm going to stock up on anything for the Second Amendment that I need. I'm going to get 2 years of food. I've got, you know, 18 months of dog food. I've got, and I'm going to do whatever. Right. So my mom comes into my house, and she's like, what is, you know, 20 cases of water. And, you know, you got survival stuff. I've got a pump to get water out of my pool. I've got a solar generator, radio in case power goes out. Like, what is all this? I'm like, okay, you'll see. And come February, they started talking about it, and come March, here comes the lockdown. So I got so many emails and calls going, man, you know, we should have listened. I'm going to Instacart. I can't get groceries for 9 days.
Right.
And I'm like, well, come to my house and get a case of water, or, you know.
Did you pre-stock up on toilet paper?
I did, actually. And I was like, everyone's getting the toilet paper. I'm going to get the wet wipes.
Yeah, sure.
So we went after that. And by the time it was like time to get toilet paper, that's out, you know. I mean, even now at my local Costco, if you try to buy more than 2 cases of water or more than 2 things of toilet paper, you can't do it, you know. So
I got to say, of all the things that happened right in that first month of, like, toilet paper was not the one that I saw coming. You know, like, I mean, I was watching people literally fist fight in my Costco over fucking toilet paper. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
insane. I got a bunch of, I hang out with a lot of military cats, because I frequent a place where there's a lot of military cats. And one guy's like, that's insane. They teach us 40 things we can wipe our ass with in the military. You got a rag, you can do it, wash it every time, hang it, whatever you're going to do. But you don't need to be freaking out. Like, be freaking out over water, food, Second Amendment stuff, maybe. You know, it just depends on where you live, really. You know, I tell you, when it was happening, when the riots started, when it went from you know, protesting to riots, and I watched the street on Melrose, where I had an apartment for 10 years, where Coal Chamber started, literally ripped apart. I mean, like 4 houses away from where my whole existence was. I couldn't believe it. I just was, okay, here we go. Everyone's going to spiral out of control, man. You know, hopefully we all come together as humanity, you know. I understand there were some things that needed to be said. Oh, cool. Yeah, I totally get that, right? But I started going, okay, good thing we did this, you know. And then it's funny, my neighbor will, you know, knock, you know, do you guys have any sugar? It's like, yes, you know, here's some sugar, you know.
Right.
you guys are fine on dog food, right? And I'm like, well, now you're just asking me to know what I have over here. So
Right.
let's not do that either. We all know.
Try to scope out what your supplies are.
Which it's, the security here and the ring cameras and the dogs and all that is.
Right.
I live in a suburban neighborhood.
Awesome.
I don't live
Same here.
I don't live behind a gated community. I didn't want to raise my kids like that. I remember Kerry King one time came over, was like, dude, you should be living behind gates or whatever. I'm like, dude, why? I want to raise my kids like how I was raised, a blue collar neighborhood where there's kids out playing in the yards and, you can hear them at 9 o'clock at night, still playing kick the can and,
Right.
old school shit. I'm like, this is what I want for them. So.
For sure, man. Speaking of that, I was looking at I was kind of doing some research on you yesterday, which was weird because I've known you for so long. But then, I'm going to talk to you, so I'm like, I got to let me go do the deep dive and dig into this.
Right on.
I was happily surprised, and I say this happily because I was just like, wow, that's fucking rad. Like your dad was on Leave It to Beaver.
Yes, and I didn't grow up with him. Now I didn't really meet him again until I was 10 or 11. I wasn't raised.
Okay.
But interesting. And it shows that like the DNA. So watch out because one of your kids is going to go into music or movies, like for sure. Right. So I remember especially hanging around my father, and my father was Tui on Leave It to Beaver.
Yes.
Tiger Fafara. And then my uncle was Whitey on Leave It to Beaver.
Yes.
And both of their Wikipedias is huge, the shit that they did. It's insane what they did.
Yeah. I mean, he was like he was in a lot of TV shows, acted for a while. I wasn't sure. There wasn't really, I guess he was acting prior to having you.
Yes.
And then
acting prior to having me, then went to Vietnam, had me when he was in Vietnam. So my mom actually called him, hey, it's a boy, when he was in Vietnam. Then came back and then they got divorced, and then I didn't have any really,
So they got divorced almost upon like him returning. Like you guys didn't. He wasn't really in your life as a young.
My mom sent him a Dear John letter, which he still to this day breaks his heart. Really, actually, he still speaks about that to me. What really broke my heart, the Dear John letter when I was in Vietnam. But it is what it is. They had their relationship. We've all been in them, right? Ones that work and ones that don't. But a really great guy, really amicable, nice, great guy. And then to find out, like, I'm in the industry, he's in the industry now. Here's a weird one. When Coal Chamber filled a song called Fiend, okay, and it was on Dark Days, on the last record. We filmed at Universal Studios, the video. It was back in the day when you can have a $300,000 budget, and that day we were filming in the Munsters garage, because the Munsters house was closed for something. So we're filming in the Munsters garage, and the whole thing is a hot rod pulls up. We're playing in the garage, and who are these freaks and all this shit. But my house for the day to sit in, to get makeup and all this, eat and all this shit, was the fucking Beaver house.
Oh shit, that's fucking awesome.
Was the
dude? How random is that? That's so fucking
and right across the
circle of life moment.
Bro, I was just like, and still, actually, I got chills right now. So actually, yeah, just insane, man. How things come around.
Total circle of life moment.
Totally,
like how
totally.
fucking.
And
wild.
then, oddly enough, I had lost touch with him, and Anastasia and I were moving out of Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is where DevilDriver formed. But we went looking for houses.
Okay.
And we realized, 1.2 million. One room from a 1970s dilapidated, So let's move.
Right.
Let's move where we can get 6,000 square feet. Let's move where we can do what we want to do. And we moved out to the IE, out to a smaller town, right? I make a joke because a couple weeks ago there was a horse in the drive-thru in my Carl's Jr., right? Come to find out, my dad lives fucking 2 miles from me. So I moved out here, had no idea. Find out he lives 2 miles from me. Now we're closing down Italian restaurants, and the rest is history. And talking about life, I learned a great deal from that guy. It was
when you were young? Was he kind of coming back periodically to take you out for a month, or did you stay with him? Like, were you guys going back and forth?
Every once in a while, he'd come around, pick me up for Christmas. Every once in a while, not every Christmas. And then when I became, I want to say 16, I was hard to deal with. I was hard to deal with. I was a kid that was ADD, ADHD. I was a hard kid to deal with. And my mom had me go live with him for a summer. And he lived out in Westlake, out in Thousand Oaks. And that was the best summer of my year or my life. I found fucking punk rock. I ran into a bunch of kids. I found punk rock. I became close with my father. You know, he's a church going kind of guy. So he would take me every Sunday, go to church. I'd listen to him sing. He had this baritone voice. I still remember him singing church hymns. It's like, wow, fucking father can sing, you know? And he'd be talking to me, what do you want to do? And I'd be up listening to punk rock records. This is what I want to do. I want to be in a band. And he was always like, go for it. Where my mom was always like, you know, let's get an education. Let's go to school. And he was always like, go for it. So yeah, it was real cool to connect back with that family.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's really, I mean, that's a crazy ride. So your mom, was it single? Your mom was single parent, like raising you?
No, I had a couple stepfathers in and out of my life.
Okay.
You know, she did the best that she could. We lived alone for a while, you know, and then, yeah.
And this is all in LA area.
Yeah. Yeah. In and out of LA, San Fernando Valley, LA, Orange County, San Juan Capistrano. I always say I was kind of raised on the wrong side of the tracks because in San Juan Capistrano, we literally were like on that side of the tracks. And that was where I found my whole love of, you know, I played soccer a lot. So that's where I found my whole love of Latin culture. And it's why I have a lot of Mayan tattoos everywhere. I own low riders. I you know, rather eat Mexican food than anything, even though I'm Italian. So don't give me shit, but it is what it is. You can't eat that shit before tour. You got to come home from tour, then eat the Mexican.
Right.
Yeah, so she did a great job with me. And then my stepfather that's in my life now, that's with her a very long time, he raised me with a real blue-collar work ethic, contractor. I was on the job with him at an early age and learned what it was like to hear him yell at other people or him yell at me or how to do it. You know, don't make 40 trips, carry more. And, you know, a work ethic that was really installed within me and kind of a hard-ass guy, but in a good way, like installed that in me too. You know, his favorite guy is Clint Eastwood. So gotta tell you.
Right.
So I got, you know, where my dad doesn't really have that. I got that from my stepfather, Steve, which is like taught me how to kick ass and be really like, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with my family. You know, it was really, so
right.
It's life.
Right on.
Yeah. Everybody's life is different, you know.
That's cool that you can get close with a stepfather like that. You know, it doesn't always happen. Like sometimes it's a weird dynamic.
Yeah. I got close with both my stepfathers. I have a stepfather that committed suicide actually.
Oh my God.
Terribly.
That's horrible.
And, but even
you guys were living together?
We had just moved out and I was at my grandmother's house and my mom went home to visit real quick to say something to him and he committed suicide.
Oh my God.
And without going into too much of that guy really raised me. Like he was water and power worker, bikers around a lot, going to like smash up derby, kind of real blue collar stuff all the time. You know, I had my first motorcycle at 7 years old, broke my leg first, broke my first leg at 8, another foot at 9, another, you know, I was constantly going out to the desert, riding motorcycles like that. He really raised me on he's a hunter, shooter kind of guy. And like really raised me on like just like a fucking man's mustache, you know, man's man.
Mustache.
You know what I mean? You know, and like you go out to the garage and it's him and his water and power buddies. Everyone's got Coors shirts on. They're drinking Coors. Like, you know, we went down to Mexico to watch with cases of beer when we weren't supposed to, you know, to get through the border, you know, because we're the ones bringing all the beer down to watch the Baja 100 or whatever. And I got raised with that, and that kind of a reality, I think, manned me the fuck up for everything I now have gone through in life. Now that I look back.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy. That's some crazy shit right there.
Yeah. Life deals you what it deals with you. I mean, I'm a guy who's really known for like a glass half full kind of feeling, like always glass half full. You know, even when I didn't have $1 to my name, you know, and I would hit my mom going like, send me $20. Like I'm living in Hollywood. I'm sleeping under, you know, we slept under a bridge for 4 or 5 nights and stole from fucking AM PM. The guy knew plainly we were coming in at 1 o'clock to fucking steal old hamburgers away. And he'd like turn his back because he knew we were just fucked up rock kids and we had no money. And you'd find a girl, you'd stay with them. They'd leave their apartment, you'd stay there. But it helped me to kind of like, no, I'm not giving up on what the fuck I want to do. You know, so I left home and went to LA, and my parents stayed back in Orange County. I went to LA and I fucking just did my thing, you know. And God bless it, met Meigs Roscone from Coal Chamber, you know. And then later, Evan Pitts and John Birkland and all those cats. So, you know, there you go.
When you stayed with your dad for that summer when you were 16.
Oh, here it goes.
I mean, it sounds so romantic too, right? Like it just like it's got like the total like romance to it.
Yeah.
So you discovered punk rock when you say that, do you discover like going to shows?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I mean, not just records. Like your friends aren't just playing your records. Like you are now. I'm going to go to see a show in Hollywood, and
yeah. So the one thing that I took was I was a BMX kid, you know, because I couldn't take my motorcycles or anything to my dad, so I'm a BMX kid. So I took my bike and I'd ride down to this pizza joint, like I think it was a Round Table or some shit, right? And they had video games. So he'd go to work during the day, I'd ride down there, get some slices, you know, fucking play video games. And in comes these kids with shaved heads. Now I meet, you know, 5 kids, shaved heads. You know, they're writing on their boots, Black Flag, this and that. What's going on? Oh, come on back to our pad. Okay, cool. I ride over. Now all of a sudden I'm in, you know, punk rock land. You know, their parents they're all latchkey kids. All their parents are at work too. They're smoking weed. They're drinking beers. They're listening to punk rock. I get turned on to the Germs, Black Flag, Circle Jerks, Dead Kennedys, a ton of bands. And then it's like, you know, hey, what are you doing? Like, you want to sneak out and go to a show? Well, where are you guys going? Well, we're driving into LA. Like, oh shit. You know, or
nice.
We're going into Orange County to go to the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm like, well, fuck, I plainly know where that is. It's about 45 minutes from where I was born. It's like, yeah, I'm going. So I started going to a couple shows. I went to a couple shows and I just got heavily. I mean, I was always into music as a kid. So I was always like, what do you want? Oh, the new record player. You know, what do you want? This tape, you know, or this vinyl or whatever it was that I had. Now that I look back.
What's the early stuff you're listening to? Like the
earlier,
easy rock of the day, or
earlier was like, so what, like I would say like, what is it, third or fourth grade, you know, I'm coming home and I'm listening to my father Steve's vinyl. Oh, that's a great fucking story too. So I hate the fucking Beatles, just so you know, right? So let me go into
You hate the Beatles.
I fucking hate them. Okay, so she loves you, Nana.
Are you a Stones? They're like,
yes,
it's the Stones.
I am. Okay, so I come home from third, fourth grade, and I'm the kind of kid, like I'm not putting on Jabberjaw. I'm not watching cartoons. And I'm going in and I'm listening to, you know, for all intents and purposes, was like hundreds of vinyl. So I'm listening to like Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild. I'm listening to Creedence Clearwater. I'm listening to The Doors. I'm listening to fucking Zeppelin.
That's right.
I'm listening to, you know, I'm getting into all that early classic stuff. I mean, oddly enough, you had like, you know, Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. Like I'm getting into this music in general, just like all fucking music. And next thing I know, I find Kiss. Now I got Kiss posters on my fucking wall. I'm joining the Kiss army. I'm either Peter Criss or I'm fucking Gene Simmons for every fucking Halloween. I'm rocking my mom's big, tall fucking go-go boots, trying to be fucking Gene Simmons, breaking my ankle, you know, trick-or-treating. My mom's doing the makeup. I was never Paul Stanley. So just for the record. And then that was it for me, man. That was it for me. I was done. I was seriously done. And I had, I was seriously done. At that point, I was bit by music, and I knew what I wanted to do. I was like, look, I want to be in music, whatever it is. I want to be around this art form that I love so much.
It's so amazing to me, like the impact that Kiss had, I think, on our generation and even the generation after it. I mean, I still talk to so many people who are like, Kiss, dude, like the fucking, like Kiss had. It was a phenomenon. I mean, it was a fucking phenomenon. I don't think anybody can even describe, No,
I mean,
kids were fucking.
Handedly, because of them, they went to Giants. You know, Giant Stadium had a disco burning thing where come to Giant Stadium. Like this has never happened now, right? Come to Giant Stadium. Bring all your fucking disco records. We're gonna torch them. We're gonna torch them in the middle of the fucking field. And while we're doing that, we're gonna play Kiss and shit in the background. Right?
Yes.
Unbelievable what the effect they had on me. Unfucking real, you know? And later on in life, Rob, so I'm a construction worker, bricklayer, etc., all my life. So I'm like listening to the records, you know, on the way to work, or listening to tapes, the radio on the way to work or whatever. And I land a job. I go back. My mom had a boyfriend early on that was a hairdresser. And I used to be like, this motherfucker is pimping. Like he's got girls all around him. He's got fucking money. He is running shit.
Yeah. I remember you were a hairdresser for a while.
Yeah. So there was a time early on when I saw the movie Shampoo. And if you've never seen that, dude drives a motorcycle, fucks everything in sight. He's got money. It's unbelievable. Right. So at one point I say to my mom, I'm going to go to school to go do this. And I was like, what's the impetus? And I said, this or that, the other thing. I went, I finished in LA. And then I got a job in Beverly Hills, right? Because everybody's going to Supercuts. I'm going to do this. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to Beverly Hills. So I walk in, I work for an early guy named Dusty Fleming. And then after that, I work for a guy named Licari, he's huge in New York, London, LA, right? And I'm working for him. I'm just an assistant there. We're doing things like Lisa Marie Presley, Kevin Spacey, Nancy Reagan.
Holy shit. Wow.
I'm like blow drying Nancy Reagan's hair while these guys got earpieces standing behind me, making sure I'm not going to slit her fucking hair.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like insane shit. This is right when Cold Chamber was coming up. All right. So like I'm riding the bus. I have no money. I'm riding the bus to and from. I'm living in fucking Hollywood. I'm riding the bus uptown. Right. I'm working and in comes Paul Stanley. So he comes in with his wife. Now, this is his second time in. He's, he kind of sees I'm a rock kid, and he's talking to me. And I tell him, Paul, you're not going to believe this. I just got a record deal last night. I'm getting ready to, my band Cold Chamber, we're selling out the Roxy. Other bands are like Korn are like bringing people to the whiskey like via bus, because we're fucking selling the scene out. I'm leaving. I'll be leaving here. I'm going to miss you guys, like fucking have a good one, man. Fucking, I'm out. I'm going to do what you did. And I'll never forget it. Most disappointing fucking moment in my life. He sits me down. He goes, sit down. I go, I'm fucking working here. I sit down. He goes, don't do it. Don't sign the deal.
What?
It's hard. It's going to take the life out of you. You're going to hate the life. You're going to hate it. Don't go for it. No shit. And to this day, I still say, well, that's why I never fucking dressed as you in Halloween, bro. Like I was never a Paul Stanley fan. I never thought it looked cool, sounded cool. I always liked Gene. I always liked, but yeah, that's the story there. So any kid that approaches you, and I know you already do this, but any kid that approaches me, dude, you got any advice? I'm like, fuck yeah, stay with it. Stay with it. When your parents tell you can't go to rehearsal.
You give him the opposite of Paul Stanley's advice.
The opposite. When your parents tell you not to go to rehearsal, sneak out. When your girlfriend tells you she hates the band members, drop her. When a guy gets in your way because he's not showing up at rehearsal because he's drunk with it, drop him. Stay fucking true to what you want to do. And I've always been that guy. I think because of those that's an early one, that's an early one that fucking affected.
What a crazy thing to say. I mean, granted, he probably gets hit up like every fucking time he walks out the door. He gets sick of saying the same thing, like, yeah, keep it up, guy, or whatever. I'm trying to think like what his reasoning is for saying something so freaking negative. I just got signed.
Yeah, we all have bad days, right? We all have bad days. You're leaving the bus, you got a bad day. We all have bad days. But I think that was just like a shitty thing to do to a kid who was like, I was so excited. I was flipping out. You know what I mean? And it tore me up, I was like, okay, great, whatever. I never liked you. So
I never did you tell him that? Did you tell him I never dressed as you as Halloween?
Later on in life, man. And I don't know, I think it was 6-7 years ago, later on in life, we've done a ton of shows with kids, just like you. You're at festivals,
Right.
I'm backstage and I'm putting my tray up to get served. And I look to my right and there's Gene. And I'm like, Gene, big fan. And of course, everyone says that. Yeah. I go, one time, and we're moving down the line. One time I was working and Paul told me, da-da-da-da. And a year later, I got my first gold record. And he put down his food, put his arm on me and goes, badass, like right on. Got his food and went our separate ways. I hate when people strap you up when you're on the way to the bathroom or you're eating or whatever. So
right.
I don't want to strap him up, but it was real cool to have him go, right, badass. I'm glad it worked out for you. Because, 8 months later, I got my first fucking gold record in New York, So just a trip, man. Just a fucking trip. Life is a fucking balls out trip, homie.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's some wild shit, man.
You and I could just tell so many fucking stories, period. If you and I sat here and did another podcast on early stories of you and I touring together with Pantera and all that, you and I could just fill fucking 5 hours to make people go, maybe we should write the book together, I don't know.
Right.
You were one of the early guys too that actually was cool to me and took me in and were cool to me,
Right.
And consequently, Logan ended up riding in the back of my bus, and I ended up dreading his hair.
Right.
On the way to like Germany.
You and Raina. Right.
Ended up dreading his hair, but I was.
And here it is, dreadlocked all these years later still too.
Absolutely. And those are the dreads that I did. I feel good about it, but you were always one of the guys who was always just, fucking, coming up on my bus, like, let's go do shots. Let's go backstage. Let's fucking hang out, homie. And I appreciate that, I'm a real introvert, and very now, especially in my older age, like I'm only doing a few podcasts and things, even for this new record. I really don't want to do press anymore. I have no interest in fame or any of that. I don't even really chase money. I'm chasing art and music, but it's hard to get me out of my shell, and especially on tour, it's very difficult. And you were one of those guys in the early age that made it fucking easy for me. It's like a bottle of whiskey and a bunch of fucking friends, and let's all dress crazy tonight, or whatever the fuck we're doing.
Let's be a bunch of idiots. Let's be a bunch of drunk idiots tonight.
Yeah, you've got diapers on. You're getting ready to come on stage with Pantera and get, you're doing crazy shit. And I'm like, I gotta fucking keep up with this guy's fucking insane. I was like, this is great. So I thank you for those early fucking times, man, for sure.
Right on, man. Yeah, they were good times, dude. There was a lot of touring together. In fact, I was thinking about it. I was like, I think I've probably toured with you more than any other person in my entire life.
Yeah,
over such a long period of time. Over a really long period of time through, multiple bands and Coal Chamber and DevilDriver and then Coal Chamber again. And then, like.
It's the dudes who reach down and help that the dudes you remember. So like early in Coal Chamber's career, I want to say we wouldn't be like, we went around the world with Pantera and Sabbath and stuff, but the real grind for us was like getting on the Machine Head run. That was a big deal. Right. And this my first time like, fuck Machine Head. Badass. Multiple trucks. Your catering was always the best. The fucking best. Like your catering was always the fucking killer, And then later on too, and I remember asking you personally, I was like, look, DevilDriver needs this fucking tour. Needs this tour with Machine Head. It was a dead of winter. You know what I mean? And you were like, yeah, okay, hold on, let me call you back, or let me email you, whatever it was at the time. And you're like, yeah, we got it. Let's go. So you're always the guy who, if you ask, or if you want to reach down and help, you do. And you should be remembered for that. There's a lot of fucking cats who don't. There's a lot of dudes who I took out who have never fucking taken me out. There's careers that I broke. Right. I've taken bands out their first fucking tour ever, and they've went on to be, bigger than me, sell more records than me. But have you taken me on fucking tour?
Right.
No. So you just, I don't know. It's very Italian to remember that shit. I put that shit in the back of my fucking head always, So I thank you for that. I'm full of gratitude, man. I think I'm humble after being here a very long fucking time. I mean, I've stuck to my guns, done what I done, and you've done what you've done.
Sure.
Up to your fucking guns, homie. Yeah,
man.
Good to see.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that, man. And you're welcome for all that.
I appreciate that. I turned my kid. We were. My wife was mentioning yesterday what I was getting ready to do with you, and said to Simon, my youngest, hey, you might have to help him on the Zoom call because I'm learning how to work a new Mac right now, right? A brand new one or whatever. And well, who is this? I said, let me play you one song. And I played him 10 Ton Hammer. What record is this off? I said, you got to start. If you're going to start, you got to start. Got to go here. Start here, then go. And he was like, this shit is balls. And since he's laying his own record now, he's listening to your vocals now, going, that dude's balls.
Oh, badass.
Yeah, like his voice is fucking balls. And I go, yeah, dude, here's some of the later shit. Like even his clean singing stuff, like, because he sings clean, fucking unreal, this kid.
Wow.
So I pointed him to you. I said, so now you're on the playlist. So occasionally I walk by his room and I'm hearing Machine Head,
That's great.
So like good father, like I feel like,
Yeah, my oldest son's got a friend who's a big Machine Head fan. So like sometimes we'll be camping or something. I'll hear like Machine. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? Yeah. Like I look over there. I'm like, oh shit, it's your friend. I'm fucking, and of course I'm just dad. So it's just like, oh, you listen to my dad.
Of course. Of course. They'll realize later. Like I think it took my kids later they realize it, but now in their 20s, it's they have.
I think it's a little easier to understand it, like because you're like they're an adult and it's not like parent-kid relationship anymore. Even though it is, it's like you said your oldest is 28.
My oldest is 27. My youngest
27. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're a freaking man at that point, doing their own thing.
We've always been friends.
And understanding now probably more why you did what you did or why,
Yeah.
those type of things.
I was gone for a lot of their time. So I put in a lot of time. I was gone a lot of time. I missed one of them graduate from high school. That still kills me. Kills me. But time to go make ends. Time to do what you got to do. But we've always been friends. I've never been like, I'm the parent. You fucking listen to me. I've never raised my voice at them. I mean, they may hear me go, what the fuck was that? But I've never screamed at them. I mean, I had some of that in my life when I was younger, and I fucking hated it. I've never laid my hands on them ever. Ever. Never spanked them. Even when they were younger, gave them a spanking. Never.
Yeah.
Fucking never. And so we have now they're my boys. We're so tight. It's unbelievable. And I'd rather hang out with those cats. They're 6'2". I'm 5'7". They're big. They look like, when we're all dressed in like Fila sweatsuits and going like out to Italian food, like it looks like some shit's getting ready to pop up.
Right.
And my dad and my middle son Caleb's like, Dad, look at us.
The whole crew walking in with Fila suits, like, what's up? Bunch of cuisines here, huh?
It's fucking great. It's great, So yeah, I think, look, if you're listening, you're a young parent, just be friends with them. Don't ever be like, I'm the parent, I said so, slap. It's like, oh,
never.
You just lost. They'll remember that shit, So
yeah. Did your parents ever beat you?
Look, I think back in the 70s and 80s is a different story, right?
It was completely normal, right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, a million times my parents beat me. Fucking pans and wooden spoons and the belt. And my dad used to make me pick we had a cherry tree in the front yard, and so I'd pick the switch. I'd get a switch, and dude, the cherry tree was the worst because it was like this rubbery, super bent. Oh my God, that thing fucking hurt, dude.
Yeah,
it was the thing, like nobody thought differently.
Nobody thought differently. I mean, I got soap in my mouth for, saying whatever,
for swearing.
Now it's like, whoa, shit, that shit will kill somebody, motherfucker. But in the 70s, it's a different story, My mom did an amazing job with me. She's a great fucking parent. She struggled. She, worked at Bank of America long hours and all this other shit to provide for me. And I was a latchkey kid, I was fucking fine coming home from school in 5th, 6th grade. I got jobs in 5th and 6th grade by myself, in San Juan Capistrano. Went and got a job at across from the Mission, a place called the Trading Post, which is where I fell in love with Native American culture because they had all that going on there, and they would let me come in after school and sweep up, give me $5. I'd be like, yes, I thought I was rich.
That's fucking $5 back then was the fucking, you were king. Yeah.
I'd go next to the first green burrito ever, actually, was in San Juan Capistrano. I'd go there, get a burrito, ride my bike up to my friend's house, So she did a good job. They did a good job. They did the best they could. For sure. Yeah. Just like
hey, my parents did a great job too. It was just such a thing at the time. That's why we're about the same age. So like our parents would have been from that same generation where it's like, it's okay to spank your kid and whip him with a belt.
I look back on who I was as a fucking kid. Fuck, I deserved it. I did. It's like, did you, you're 15. Did you drive my truck? No, absolutely not. It's like, come here, motherfucker. You forgot to take it off of K-Rock. And by the way, I had my generator in the back and you slammed the brakes onto it. You broke the whole shrouding. Now, did you take my truck? Yes, I took your truck. Get the fuck upstairs.
Right.
I was hell on wheels, man.
Yeah.
I'm calm now. A lot more than when I was young.
I think that too. Our age as teenagers, we had a lot more. Like, I wouldn't let my kid do half the shit that I fucking did when I was a kid. Like, nope. Fucking, it's like there's just no way. Like, and I don't want to say like I'm more. It's not because more. It's just like it's a crazier time, and it was a little more free then, maybe depending on where you lived, or just like the parents of the day was just like, yeah, okay, you're 14, yeah, sure, go ride 7 miles away from me till you go to your friend's house and then come back at fucking 9 p.m. or whatever, like
you can do that now. I mean, I remember my kids going, I want to go ride my bike. I'm like, no. It's a weird world. You're not going. My parents, I would get on my motorcycle at age 7, put on my helmet, my little Yamaha, I love Yamaha yellow, all my yellows, and go ride in the fucking desert by myself all afternoon through the fucking desert. No doubt I was 10, 15, 20 miles away from the desert, the little desert house that they had, a little getaway.
No sunscreen.
No nothing.
No sunscreen.
I mean, at one point I went off a jump. I fucking fell. I broke my fucking foot and I laid there for 2 hours before People came
Holy
to find me
shit.
before they came to find me. And I saw a dust storm coming. It was a bunch of bikes. It was my stepdad and a bunch of bikes and a truck, actually, because I didn't know what would be going on with me. And I'm laying there. I'm fucked.
Right.
My foot's broken. I can't ride, you know? So, yeah.
But it's, you know, in some ways though, I do think that I'm glad I had that, you know, and I'm sure you're glad that you had that too. Like in a lot of ways you know, you had this sense of, I don't know, like it's I mean, it certainly prepares you for the life that we then partook in, you know, that gypsy fucking pirate life, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there you go. I think having that kind of freedom when you're a kid, and then you're like, now go to your room. You're like, wait, I had freedom. Now I'm in my room. Like, so you want it, you chase it. I chased it. I was like, I want my own freedom. I want my own money, my own this, my own everything. I want my own freedom. And I fought for that, you know, the same way you did. You know, people don't realize, you know, coming up in a band that it's fucking difficult, you know, that it's difficult, that it's long hours, that you're gone. Some people don't realize it, you know. Oh, cool, you're in a band, you know. Overnight you were rich and your life was gold. It's like, wait, dude.
No.
There's a lot of work that went into that, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the part you see. You don't see anything, you know, and part of that's, you know, you want that, you know, nobody wants to show off all the, like, here, look at all the hard work I did. No, like, here, just look at that success or whatever.
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
You saw, I know Black Flag had a pretty big, you know, I mean, you're Dez, your actual name's Bradley, you know, but Dez, you know, that had a massive impact. What was the, I mean, even like I think about all the touring, did you wore Black Flag shirts all the time? Like it was a very impactful band. And I was always curious about, you know, where was the starting point with Black Flag, with the album? When did you see them for the first time? You know, like the whole experience.
The starting point for me was with Fear, actually. So Fear is my favorite band. So being able to work with
the record is the shit.
Insane. I love you.
Fucking amazing. The best shit ever.
So being able to work with Lee Ving on Outlaws Till the End, on the last thing that DevilDriver did, the Outlaws cover record stuff, was incredible. Here's a great fucking story that you'll know. I mean, so first of all, Fear got me into Black Flag, which got me into the Germs, Dead Kennedys, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know if Black Flag is my all-time. Fear is my all-time.
Okay.
But I find out that I get Lee's number. I find out that he wants to work with me on this last thing that we did on this project. And I'm like, I'm getting ready to call Lee Ving. I tell my wife, fucking film me. Because it's the first time I'm shitting, shitting myself, right? I'm shitting. I call him up, and no kidding, within about 5 minutes.
You're genuinely nervous. Like
genuinely
you're like, holy...
fucked up nervous. Like it's the first, like, I don't know if I'm going to ask this girl out. Like, you know, that nervous. Like,
right.
I call him. And within 5 minutes, we hit it off so hard, Rob, that I find out he loves blues. He loves jazz. He loves outlaw country. And I went, no fucking way. This is my all-time idol. And he starts singing me, and I've got the video of it and me watching, which is like this grin that looked like fucking someone just gave me a new bike when I was a kid at Christmas, right? He's singing Hank Williams Sr. to me on the phone.
Oh, shit.
And I fucking put it on
awesome.
Speaker, and I lay it down, and my wife is taping, and I'm just sitting there like, no way in hell is this happening to me right now. This is insanity that this guy's singing. And we hit it off really fucking hard. He told me some great stories, man. He talked to me about them destroying the Saturday Night Live set with Jim Belushi when Fear played. And get into this, like, you know, we broke the door open for all those kids with fucking blue hair, you know? Cops used to come into our shows with billy clubs to beat us up. You guys are all fucking freaks because we got the job done for you. And I was like, I love it. I was like, preach, Lee. So that's where my love for punk rock really came from. That decline of the Western Civilization record, not the metal years, which half of those bands weren't even metal.
Yeah. No.
Right? Which is like, please.
Yeah, the punk one. Yeah, the punk one. First one.
The punk. So that thing had such a huge fucking impact on me, man. You know, just a massive impact. And then hearing the Germs too, which is like such an outsider band. Like, you either like them or you're, what are they doing? You can't understand Darby Crash most of the time. Most of the time, he didn't even have lyrics in his head. It's just, bleh. And I was overwhelmed by that as an art form. Like from growing up on my parents' classic rock and everything, where everything's like verse, chorus, real nice. Everything's to like, what the hell is this? And I love Doc Martens, and I could shave my head, which I did, and it was amazing. It was, you know, punk rock was freedom to me, real freedom to me. I didn't get into metal until I found Motorhead. So I may have listened to Kiss, which is classic rock, and I guess metal, and it was metal. It was metal. But I mean, real proper metal. One day I was listening to the Crumbsuckers in LA. Must have been 89 or 90. And
Life of Dreams? Life of Dreams record?
Giving your life
That's
up,
a shit.
Unreal.
That's a shit right there.
Shit. And then a dude goes,
fucking love that record.
Goes, play this, and put in this band Motorhead. And I was like, cool, another punk rock or hardcore band. And after about 4 songs, he's like, dude, look at this picture. And they all had hair and fucking, I was like, what is this? And then that was it. From then on, I started getting into metal, and I found Pantera, and I found, you know, obviously Ozzy. I mean, I found Sabbath way back in the day, but then started listening to some other stuff, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy how things will generate like that. You know? What
shows are you going to? Like, what's your first punk rock shows, or what's your first like metal shows, or shows in general?
First shows in general. Well, I was in a psychobilly. I love psychobilly and rockabilly, so that's my background: goth, punk, and psychobilly. So Jimmy and the Mustangs and the Rockin' Rebels and even the Stray Cats and all of this. So I went and saw the Stray Cats.
No shit, huh?
I went and saw the Stray Cats at Hollywood Palladium when I was 15. The big
Holy crap.
Black boots and chains around my fucking boots and all that. So I was a stand-up drummer in a psychobilly band called the Screamin' Wolves. And I actually got my first tattoo at 15, which was a big wolf with a leopard skin fucking thing around his neck. So my mom was not fucking happy about that. Because we like, you know, it was at Laguna Beach Tattoo, and the guy who did it, name was Harley. He was a biker. All of them were bikers back then. Tattoos weren't like, you know, it was weird if you had a nose ring or you had tattoos or any of this, right? So I got my first tattoo at 15, a psychobilly tattoo. But that was my first shows, were psychobilly shows. And we used to go to this place called, what's it called? Radio City in Anaheim. And all the good psychobilly bands would go there. And I was 15, 16 years old, but all of my friends were 25, 27, 28, all like hardcore psychobillies, like been in it forever. And they were like halfway psychobilly, halfway punk rock. So you'd be listening to the Cramps, but at the same point in time, they couldn't take listening to the Stray Cats. We're not listening to that pop shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, they considered it pop. Okay, gotcha.
Unless it's like the early. I like the
I like the Stray Cats. I was going to say, like, they're always cool.
I like them, but at that point, these guys were real hardcore psychobilly guys. Like, you know, you got to listen to Dean Vincent and, you know, blah, and just run down the whole gamut of that, you know. Massive Elvis fan. Funny, I married a redhead. I drive a 78 Cadillac yellow on yellow Barrettes. And when I went to go live with my father, his wife, Bonnie, God rest her soul, she's passed away now, was from the South, red hair, big B font, drove a red Cadillac. All she did was listen to Elvis. During the day, if the Elvis movies were on, I'd watch Elvis with her, and got bit by the bug there too. So those are the earliest shows that I went to, really, is psychobilly shows, you know, and rockabilly shows. That was my thing.
Yeah.
And then new wave came in and punk rock and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And then somewhere in there, I was going to say I remember we played our first show 95, you guys opened for Machine Head at the Troubadour. Oh, Troubadour. It was the last night of our tour. And I think you guys were still unsigned, but you were like, I'm talking to
love that fucking place. Oh,
yeah, Troubadour.
Place. Yeah, great venue. Look up to the side, got that VIP room area where your friends can hang. Kind of a real tight, you know, high stage, but real tight. The bar in the back of the I remember that. So
that would have been right around the beginning. You know, you guys might have been, you know, formed. I'm not sure when you were formed exactly.
Cold Chamber formed in 91, and did our first demo tape as a band called She's in Pain. We were
not Cold Chamber.
No, which we were. We were in pain at that point. Those early demos are fucking terrible. Oh my God, they're great. They're great though. And it was me and Meigs. And I met Meigs through back then you did like in Rock City News or whatever, you did ads for musicians, you know. I need a guitar player. He needs to be into this, that, the other thing. And Meigs responded. I remember when he came over the first night, had hair down to his waist, could play guitar, like could really play, you know, and it was like we hit it off really fucking well, really well. And from that point, you know, the rest was history from there. We stayed together until we found the members that we wanted, then formed Cold Chamber. So Cold Chamber was from about 92-ish, 93, 90, late 91 to 92. That's when we formed Cold Chamber.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were you doing in between there? You know, like, were you in a band also prior to that?
I was, we didn't have any name. I was rehearsing with this kid for like about a year and a half, but things went terribly awry. He was, you know, heavily into drugs. And one day I grabbed his framed Slayer poster off the rehearsal room and laid it down to roll a joint on. And he like came fucking unglued on me. Like, this literally came unglued. Don't you ever roll a joint on Slayer? And I'm like, and that was funny looking back. And I'm like, me and Kerry King are very family friends. Now looking back, you know, I mean, the kid was out of his mind, you know, and it's a good thing I got. I heard later that he went south completely. So,
yeah, but like the late 80s, 90s, what are you, you're just working, you're doing hair.
I'm roaming around Hollywood. I'm trying out for numerous bands. I'm living with different girls. I'm going to different clubs. You know, early 80s, I would say probably right before I even graduated high school. And as I graduated high school, so I was 17-ish, 18-ish, I ended up working at the Cathouse with Riki Rachtman. And
shit.
Yeah, I actually, me and two friends walked up to him like, hey, we're coming in. He's like, no, you're not. You're plainly not 21 and you're not coming in my club. You're not. You know, and he's like, what?
That's a great answer.
He goes, look above you. And I saw, and he goes, this blue light above you is out. If you go find me a blue light, I'll let you guys in the club as long as you're low key tonight. You go sit somewhere, I'll let you guys in the club. And at that time, Cathouse was raging, huge.
Fuck yeah.
It was the scene. And I went to a CVS or whatever across the street. I stole a fucking light bulb. I fucking come back. I give him light bulb. He puts it in. Hey, it works. Come on in. He goes, you ever bar backed? And I got to know what the fuck that is. And he goes, well, my bar back, who fetches ice and rinses glasses and in general is a gopher, like, is gone tonight. I need somebody that wants to be here. You look like a kid who wants to be here. I'm like, well, I'm here to party. There's a lot of good looking women walking in this.
Right. Right. This is the fucking Cathouse, for God's sake. I'm here to get pussy.
And it's like, hey, guess what? Every one of those girls comes to the bar, up to the bar. Oh shit. So I started working as a bar back for Riki and started hanging out with Riki. And that led to some really fucking great times. You know, I went to,
oh my God, I cannot even fucking imagine.
Unreal. So I go to his house before this, you know, I kind of became his like guy for a minute, and him and I still talk about this. It's awesome. Kind of became his guy for a minute. And, I was at his house one night, you know, getting stuff ready before the club, maybe getting cocktails or whatever together before we're going to go to the club. And he goes, look, we're going to stay a little later tonight, right? I got two bands coming and they're going to play tonight. One of them's going to come over and they're going to rehearse for a little while on the couch before we go to the Cathouse. We're all going to roll together. I was like, badass. I like rolling as a crew. You know me. Or either that or I had to go in early before even Riki got there. In comes GNR. In comes Guns N' Roses. This is before they were signed.
Shit.
Before they were signed, before anybody knew who the fuck they were. Sit down on the fucking couch in Riki's place. They played for like an hour and a half. All of them. Playing.
Like acoustically? Acoustically?
Acoustically.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Jamming. Axel's warming his voice up. We all roll over to the club. They play. From there, we start becoming friends with them. So me and Riki would go to a house. They all lived in a house that I joke is funny because they're all living in beds on the floor in the garage. So no one would whoever had the house, we're not letting them in the house. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
And me and Riki would go over there and drop them off sandwiches and stuff. Riki would drop them off sandwiches and stuff. So that's how I got to know that whole thing. And then GNR got huge and the rest is history. You know?
Wow. You must have seen some crazy shit at the Cathouse. I mean, just fucking
crazy shit.
Shit that'll melt most men's eyeballs.
Crazy shit. And keep in mind, I was like the youngest there. So
yeah, you're like 18, 19, single.
At some point, 17-ish.
You're single you're single at this point, right? Yeah.
Of course. So
of course. I'm a whore.
Since I was a young kid, and I'd be, you know, when I took a break, I'd play pool or whatever, and I've always been really good at pool. Thus, I have a pool table here at my house, and I'll hustle anybody comes over. Like, I don't know, I haven't played in a long time. Want to put some $10 on it? You know, it's like, and I'll smoke them. But And I used to take breaks, and like and now that I look back, it was almost like chased after by a lot of the girls there because I was young. I was the youngest there. So, you know, you got your local rock star girls or porn star girls, whatever it was, always coming up. And so real crazy times. I'll save those moments and who was actually I was hanging out with at that point for the book that I'm writing. But yeah, some real like probably would have been frowned upon now, you know, what's going on with me. But it was an intense life, you know, it was intense.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. And just crazy how you like, you know, you become friends with Riki Rachtman. And I'm sure just that alone right there opened up a million rock and roll doors.
It really did.
So many bands were hanging around the Cathouse, you know, not thrash bands, but like glam bands and rock bands. And
rock bands, glam bands. I mean, I started to kind of get out of the scene when like Jet Boy, which they're from San Francisco, Jet Boy, and Poison and stuff started kind of coming up. I was already moving in a different direction, you know? A way different direction. But Riki, we always remained friends, you know, always. I used to live with Brent Muscat from Faster Pussycat in the drummer's house from the Psychedelic Furs. He had like one bedroom in Hollywood, and Brent was living there with his girlfriend, and I used to crash out on the fucking couch there all the time and stuff. So yeah, it was a real like door opening fucking moment, you know. And then you're always at the after parties too, which were insanity.
Party and fucking mania must have been
insane. I don't even know what to say. You know, you're at an after party. Next thing you know, you're at the Rainbow, and from there, I'm in a car with Stephen Piercy in a Porsche going up to Stephen's house, where there's another after party and cocaine, and it just was insane, just fucking insane. As a youth, now I look back because I'm starting. We have multiple publishers that want to do books with me, but a lot of them want to write with me, and I won't allow that. So I've been starting to write stories down, and as I write them, I read them to my wife. You know, she's like, "Fuck," and I'm like, "Can I tell this? You know, and can I tell this person's her name?
Of course you can. You
she
can
was
tell
a big porn star at the time, or can I do this? Can I do that? And she's like, "You know what? Fuck, of course you can." So it's been interesting kind of going back. Even now it's interesting. I tend to move forward a lot and I don't look back.
Yeah.
Until you get on a podcast with fucking Brother Flynn, and then you start rolling.
That's right. Until you get on No Fucking Regrets. No fucking regrets.
No fucking regrets.
You just tell it.
Yeah.
So somewhere around here, so around this period, this is when you're starting to meet up with Meigs and, you know, around here, and then you start the band, or you start your first band, you guys get going. Is Raina a part of it at this point, or are you going through a slew of LA musicians? And
we found I found Meigs, and we found the drummer, and then at that point also found Raina. And I had a one bedroom at the time, right off of Sunset and Poinsettia, which was just, you know, I've never had my own home, you know. And then they all moved in with me. Raina actually lived on the kitchen floor. Meigs lived in the living room, and I lived in the small little studio. And we used to trade fucking top ramen, and I was a master at going to Trader Joe's and coming home with fucking food with no money. Let me tell you. I would always come home with a bottle of wine and fucking enough food to feed us, and with no money. I mean, and it is what it is at that point. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know. If you're hungry, you gotta eat, you know. We ate a lot of baked potatoes and shit, you know, because a bag of potatoes was nothing. Can live off that shit.
Are you sure, like at this point, do you know where you want to go musically? Like, are you guys, you know, are you like kind of finding your way, kind of just like seeing what scene you fit in, and like kind of like, I don't know where I belong kind of thing?
So I'm listening to Pantera and Sepultura and Fear Factory and all of that. I haven't found anybody else really at that point. White Zombie was huge for me.
Right.
Motorhead, Danzig was huge for me, Over the Top.
Right.
Tool. I was listening to Tool, all the stuff that was coming out at that point. You know, so it's funny to me. It's like, and always back in the day, it was like, you know, you guys, you know, ripped off Korn. It's like, I didn't even know who the fuck they were. Like the first Korn show I actually went to, Meigs and them took us to way after we'd been together. And there was like 4 people there in Huntington Beach. And I was like, wow, I get it. Band's cool, but no one's here. You know what I mean? So we were doing our own thing. We kind of, now Meigs was really influenced by rap, like a lot of rap as well, which started to get me kind of influenced by that a little bit. And I was never influenced by rap. I was influenced by a lot of soul. It's like James Brown, Aretha Franklin, like all that. I'm really heavily influenced by soul. I still still in my caddy. That's what I'm listening to in my Cadillac is.
I mean, I'm trying to think like Jane's Addiction would have been really big around that time.
Huge. I worked at a place right after the Cathouse. I actually worked at Scream Club. So Dale Gloria, the owner of Scream, which was the biggest club you could possibly go to in early 80s, early 90s, late 80s. I worked there as well, the Scream Club. Janes would come in and jam. Unfucking believable. The Sugar Cubes. Like, I mean, so the influences were everywhere, really. So I don't know how we found our style. I just knew I wanted it to be heavy. I wanted to use what I called the voice I had found for myself. And I wanted to be a little weird. So I was into weird bands. I was always into 80s bands and weird stuff. The Cure, Bauhaus, Sisters of Mercy, all the Batcave scene was always like my shit. It still is my shit. I mean, I was listening to Bauhaus this morning. So somebody made a great comment yesterday on a podcast, like, what's your favorite metal band? I was like, Bauhaus. And the guy just, he kind of didn't get it. He kind of didn't get it. He's like,
right.
Next question guy, but it is what it is. So all my influences were really gothic. I really wanted the band to like, that's why we're wearing Creepers and stuff like that as well. But in the beginning, we rehearsed down in Compton. And we all wore Dickies and stuff, and and my hair was always real long and in braids, and everybody was doing this kind of thing. And so we had kind of and Meigs always had like the cholo hat on, like the bandana in pictures, because representing his culture, obviously, which I always thought was fucking badass, right? Because we always had the Southgate crew. All the Southgate crew came to our shows, which made it violent as fucking hell. But that's where we were at that point. Then we just kind of manifested into what we became, and made sure that we stayed a little more on the weirder side and stuff because of the other bands that started to come up around us in LA. Like at that point, the Deftones were coming up. Like we were at the Deftones show. Like we hung out with all of them, and Mark from Sugar Ray was a great fucking friend. He had the best after parties. Like, so Mark, if you see this, like Mark from Sugar Ray had the best fucking after parties you'll ever fucking remember.
Wow. Really? The Sugar Ray after parties.
Everybody was there, from the Deftones to you name it. We're all a clique. We all clicked out. But as the Deftones came up, as Korn started bringing busloads of people up to their shows and trying to what we considered taking over LA, we started to really go the gothic way and made sure that we were weird. It was always like the freaks come out. That was us. Subsequently, everybody else started to kind of do their take on that. System of a Down. I found Static X. So to bring them up, I actually found them in a club with 9 people. I'm the one that brought them to somebody who actually got them signed. So, but the weirdness came out of us, and Meigs went along with it fucking great. Meigs always loved 80s bands too. So we still have that in common. The last time we got together to do a tour and everything 5-6 years ago, like that's what we still bonded on in the bus is like, let's put on fucking whatever,
Yeah. I seem to remember Dino Cazares had a role in somehow getting you guys signed, right?
He did, and he's going to be in the book pretty heavily, for better or for worse,
Okay.
Right? But he brought us to the attention of Roadrunner Records. And then later, a lot of people don't know this, but we got the record deal, and I actually said I quit the band because I was married. I had a great job in Beverly Hills. I was just getting ready to be promoted up there. I was making money.
You were married?
Yeah, I was married at the time.
Oh, okay.
My wife at the time told me, if you sign the record deal, I'm going to leave you. Which actually I did sign the record deal, and actually she did.
The Roadrunner deal.
Yes, the Roadrunner deal.
Yeah.
So I left the band for a year.
Crazy. Okay.
And then came back to them going, look, let's give it a shot. Like, I want to give it a shot. I want to know if I can or can't. I don't want to sit here when I'm 30, 40, 50 going, what if, right? Would I have done something? So I came back to the band and
wow, that's crazy. So you got, just chronologically, you got signed.
Yes. I didn't
quit the band.
We got the record deal.
Oh, gotcha. I got the record deal. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. All right. And then quit.
Yeah.
And then this must have been around like 94, because I know right in 95 you guys were basically signed when we played that show together.
Right. Yeah.
You might have been just about signed, or
That's it. And getting ready to go in the studio, into NRG Studios and record the first record, which was
with the Don guy, right?
Yeah, which was so nuts. John Baumgartner, Jay Baumgartner.
Yes, Jay. That's what it is, Jay.
Which is amazing. Still, if I walk in there, you turn the corner, and my gold records are all right there still. The ones from Scream,
Right.
All the soundtracks and everything are still all right there. So
That's awesome.
that guy let
That's
us
awesome.
do what we want. Like if you want to stay in here.
What happened between? What did you? You quit for a year. What did you do?
I
Like,
worked.
what did you do?
Was
your wife just like? And was your wife just like? I'm still going to leave you if you continue to do this, or was it like an ultimatum, or was it?
Basically, yeah. And so I just continued to work. You got to understand, I didn't my whole life was not like what's the word? There's no real stability, right? So up until this point, there's no real stability. So here I am.
Yeah.
I've got a house. I've got an apartment. I got 6 months paid. I've got a pit bull. I've got friends. I'm dealing weed on the side. I'm making good money. I'm going uptown to Beverly Hills to work. Christmases there were like nothing you've ever imagined. I'd come home with a roll of fucking money. It was like a mobster movie. I'd come home with a roll of fucking money. People would just be like,
Right.
here's 20 for no reason. Just, how you doing, kid? Here's 20. It was insane. And I was like, why am I going to leave this? I have stability, right?
Right.
What I realized is I was craving more instability. More instability. And so I went back to the band. We got signed, and the rest is history. I don't,
Did your wife divorce you at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if leaving or me tricking her to leave, but I've never really spoke about this, but I was like, look, you live in Atlanta, take the dog, have your dad come out here, take the dog, get our stuff, go. And, when all this gets squared away, I'll come meet you. Now I knew I wasn't going to meet her. I knew it was over.
Yeah.
You don't give me ultimatums in anything in life, ever. That'll be your worst fucking scenario. You worry about two guys in life, one who doesn't give a fuck about ultimatums and one who doesn't give a fuck and will say what the fuck he wants to say. I was always taught those are the guys you either link up with and make sure you got a strong bond, or you be very frightened of those cats. And I was that guy. I was like, you gave me a fucking ultimatum. What am I going to do here? That you deliberately.
She was in Atlanta, you said that?
Yeah, well, she went back to Atlanta. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I gotcha.
I've never spoke about this, so this is fresh.
I've never heard this. This is crazy.
And I'm sure my wife and I
think it's crazy that you guys got to the point of getting signed and then you quit the fucking band. Like that's just nuts.
I did.
I mean, granted, I can understand why I'm like listening to you and I'm going, I mean, fuck, like for somebody who does, as someone who also had a very unstable life, I totally understand what you're talking about. Like, you finally get money and you got fucking cash and you got a good job, and it's like, and it's still kind of a wild, fun life that, you're still kind of living the life too while you're at it. So it's not like, it's not like you fucking moved out to the burbs and, whatever, like it's still like you're in it.
I'm living in Hollywood proper. I'm selling out the Roxy, the whiskey. I've got my dog, my Pit, who I loved. I couldn't imagine now, like, wait a minute, I own a bed, like what the fuck is going to, I actually bought a couch. Like never before have I had my own couch. Like what the fuck am I going to do with all this shit? What am I going to do with
What do Raina and Meigs do in the year that you quit?
Went off on their own, and like they're trying to do their own thing without me, but it didn't happen. And then from there, there's a story that's going to be in the book about me coming home from work and walking down a street next to their house, and I was actually just in dress clothes with my puppy in my hand and going to a store to get a beer or whatever, to go back to my house, and ran into them, and consequently ran into Dino as well. And there was a thing that went down, and then I started talking to Meigs, and I started saying, look, okay, let's do this. Plus I love the kid like a brother. Everyone always thinks like, it's because you guys don't get along. It's like, no, we're like fucking brothers. I love him so fucking much that, when we saw each other kind of going separate ways, I couldn't take it, I got back together right away with him and said, let's fucking go for it. And we did. And the rest is history. I mean, from that point, we played the first Ozzfest on the side stage. The very first
shit.
one. It's like a 2-day thing. And we
got
off.
Right.
Do you remember? And I think it was like Sepultura,
Earth Crisis was on there. Yeah, Earth Crisis played.
Badass band by the Earth Crisis. And I got off stage, and Sharon Osbourne, of all people, sat me down at a table and was like, hey, I want to manage you. And I was like, wait, what? Like, first of all, we have a manager right now at this point. And she's like, no, I want to manage you. And so I was like, I'm in. you know, and she gave me this chrome heart bracelet that I still have. It's like it's cherished property to me. And I put that bracelet on and we hugged, and the rest is history. I actually told my manager that night.
Well,
that,
it was a little, I was going to say it was a little while before you got her fully on board, right?
like 96 or 97.
Yeah.
That first
I thought it was after the first record, wasn't it? When she like, was it before?
No,
Okay.
it was during the first record. It was after the first record came out, or was getting ready to come out. But yeah, you know, and that was incredible. And I actually told, this is going to go in the book, but I'll tell you a little bit of it. But I told my manager at the time, which will remain nameless, but I'm going to put his name in the book, and he manages some big bands even now. And I called him and said, hey man, I've never really got along with you, and I've never really trusted you. So I'm a very honest cat. That's a problem for a lot of people. I never really trusted you. So I'm leaving you right here now on this phone call, and I'm going to Sharon Osbourne. The first thing out of his mouth is, he goes, I'm going to have you fucking killed. I'm going to fucking have you killed. And at that point, I was running with some cats that were real fucking heavy, really fucking heavy. I had a fucking Harley. I was dealing weed. I fucking roll up to the Roxy and give my gun to fucking Evil, to Eddie Ortel, would go in and do business. Like, I was running with some heavy cats, and I said to him on the phone, you're going to do what, motherfucker? Okay, now that you said this, I'm going to have a conversation with some people I fucking know and some family members I know. And he got a call 24 hours later by mystery man that just plainly told him, you fucking look at this fucking kid wrong. Just look at him fucking wrong. And it's going to be no good for you. So, you know.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy fucking stories. Crazy coming up. It's fucking fun telling the shit, you know. I mean, it goes so much deeper. So when I go into the book, it's so much fucking deeper than that. But the glance over is that. So it wasn't all just fucking easy.
Yeah, I mean, I know who you're talking about. So I know who you're talking about. You know, I was going to say, so you do that, you go into NRG, you get signed. Monty Connor, shout out to Monty Connor, you know, he is the reason that many of us are here. You know, we are the children of Monty Connor.
Call him dad, man. Like for real.
Right.
Like pops, like for real. You know, I email him, we email back and forth on average 2 or 3 times a week, man. Because I manage several of his artists on Nuclear Blast, so we talk, you know.
Yes, you know he loves you, right?
Oh, bro, I love the guy.
He used to tell me he's mesmerizing.
He'll
mesmerizing. Mesmerizing. I was like, shut up.
I think truth is a lot for those kind of guys. Like, if you're looking at them and you just plain out say things, it's like, whoa, I'm used to being, you know, as a guy like that is used to being sold or glanced or, you know, sold. And I just, I don't have that in me. It's not a bone in my fucking body. So he would always say that. You're fucking mesmerizing me. I said, well, whatever. I'm telling you the fucking truth.
You're mesmerizing.
Oh, it's great. I love the guy.
You're mesmerizing.
Yeah, I mean, how many bands, man? How many bands did he put on
it's
the
crazy.
map? Give a chance.
It's fucking insane. Yeah, I mean, you can't there's an entire, our generation of music fans is that like Cold Chamber, Fear Factory, Machine Head, Slipknot, Typo Negative. Like, I mean, you could Sepultura. You could even go in, you know, all the death metal shit with Obituary and Deicide, and like, you know, before us that predates us, like the Biohazard. So many bands that, you know, just literally defined an era of music.
That's it.
An era.
Yeah.
You know? That one dude. One dude.
One dude. I mean, I talked about, you know, with you and everything, the guys who reach down and they help, right? Yeah. This is the guy. This is the guy that reached down and fucking helped, you know? And Nick Cave has a song about that, about where you find musicians, you know? You find them on the other side of the tracks, in the barrio, in the this and the that. And he did. And he found all of us, gave us a fucking chance. I fucking love that guy. I love that guy.
Yeah, man.
I really do.
And you know, you think about it, like sometimes, you know, you hear people say this, like, oh, you know, one person can make a difference, and you know, it sounds like the right thing to say, but you never really, like, you're not like, well, no, like nobody does anything in a bubble. Everybody has help, but that one guy at Roadrunner, literally defined a decade of music.
And how many lives did he change with the people who heard the music? Yeah. How many lives did he change with the people who made the music? How many lives did he change with the people like, you know, your family that are around the music? And yeah,
or the people that worked at the record company that helped promote the music, you know, like
the crews that you took around the world forever, the bus drivers you gave jobs to, the lighting guys you gave jobs to. That's all because of one guy. So five ways from Kevin Bacon, 5 ways from Monty Connor.
Right. 5 degrees of Monty Connor.
Monty Connor is the way. But I love that guy. I mean, he could call me tonight and say, drive to New York, I need help. And if I was home and I would drive to fucking New York and help. That's all there is to it.
I wouldn't do that. I'd draw the line there. But
I would. I mean, well, I would.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. That sensitive niffled motherfucker. Fucking Monty. Did you do the Roadrunner United thing with us? Were you there for that? There was one part when fucking we did Roots. We did Roots at the end of the night. Everybody's covering songs from various other artists, and so we get up and Joey Jordison in the middle of the fucking stops everything in the middle of Roots, and he's like, "I want everybody to say this with me. Fuck Monty Connor. Fuck Monty." It's all to that do 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 riff.
That's fantastic.
It was the funniest shit.
So I never did that. I was pissed at the label at the time. I remember I was really fucking pissed at them at a time for some business stuff that'll go in the book.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And I was like, no, hell no. I was like, you gonna pay me? So I'm not your boy no more at this point. I'm not doing anything.
Right.
With you. I'm not doing anything with you, for you. Anything you're gonna make money off? No. I started to get real smart business wise. The beginning of my career, I had no fucking clue about the business.
Right. None of us do. Yeah.
Signed a lot of different shit that. Yeah, just every musician has the same fucking story.
You signed that Roadrunner deal. The same Roadrunner deal. It was basically a 360. It was like, I remember Case Wessels being like, I invented the 360 deal. I'm like, fuck you. Like, thanks a lot, motherfucker.
Right. So I was at that point, in love with the music, in love with the life, in love with the ability to do art, and what did not have my fucking head on business, which now that I look back is real odd for me. So I was running a successful weed business. You got to know money. I was running successful thing, but I didn't have my fucking mind on those kinds of things. And then one of my my first tour ever, we went out with a very small band. We were out for 3 or 4 days with them. And then we were playing the Trocadero in Philly. Right. And I look up in the balcony and I see what I think is Glenn Danzig. Now, I've been listening to Danzig's first record while I was a bricklayer, off and on, dreaming about being in a band and all this shit. And sure enough, when I got backstage, he came back and put me on his tour the next night. They were playing Philly. I left the tour I was on, and now I'm on a Danzig tour. And I remember within the first week, he's like, hey, what'd you do with your publishing? What'd you do with this? Did you sign this away? How do you do this? Who's making your merch? What are you doing about that? Did you sign this away? And I was thinking to myself, fuck, I have no idea. I've got a bottle of whiskey in my hand, motherfucker.
Right.
I've got girls on the fucking bus. And now I started to think. And from then on, and thanks, Glenn, he's always been a fucking good friend ever since. And which, by the way, I love his new Elvis shit is amazing. He played some of that stuff to me before he even released it backstage at a DevilDriver show long ago. And he's the first guy that really got me thinking about fucking business early on. And so from then I altered some of my contracts on the way up with Cold Chamber. And then obviously with DevilDriver, I fucking, I held my ground. I want this, I want that. I want my publishing. I want this and that.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you remember about Jay Baumgartner and that first recording the first record? This record hits, it's very, admittedly, in my opinion, it's very Korn influenced, maybe not influenced, but it does have that Korn sound. It captures, in my opinion, if Korn was the first band, you guys were that second band to come out with that sound.
Oddly enough, they didn't even have a record yet. And they were coming in.
No, 94 was the same. Burning My Eyes and Korn's first record were 94, same year.
Yeah, well. No. It wasn't out yet. The record wasn't out yet. The record hadn't hit the stores yet, I don't think.
Your record? No, 94. It was out. Yeah.
94. They were coming to our...
Yeah, because I played them for the first time on MTV when I hosted MTV on our tour. So the record was out.
Okay. Well,
they already had the blind videos out.
They were coming to NRG to visit us.
Reggie,
who I still fucking hold in my heart, loaned us a bass cab. actually.
Oh,
because
shit.
Raina's bass cab crapped out, and they were coming to shows and stuff, and we were all tight. We were all friends. We knew they had a whole other thing, the way they looked as well. We had a whole thing where like, we got to get away from whatever someone else is doing, you know? I remember the first time I saw that band, outside of like them having 10 people, 15 people in Huntington Beach or whatever, the first time they blew up and came out, I saw them at the Palladium, and I was upstairs. You know how that looks down on that floor, you know? And I'm looking down, and I'm like, fuck. Like, it was fucking insanity. And they blew up. God bless them. They're cool as fuck. I mean,
they hit like a bomb, you know?
Yeah, we've always been cool. I mean, look, years back, I don't know how many years, 5, 6, whatever it is. I filled in for Korn at Download. I mean, you can go YouTube that, and I did two songs.
Right.
John got airlifted out because he wasn't feeling, and only a few of us, I think one of the singer Avenged Sevenfold and me, and I don't really remember the other cats, but we went out and did Korn songs for them so they could get paid and get their shit together, you know.
Right.
Got airlifted. So, you know, I was like, go get me a DevilDriver shirt right now. You know.
You're coming out, you're like recording this album, and this album is like, you know, this is a pretty seminal album. I mean, this thing hits, and fucking you guys, I mean, it's like Cold Chamber, I mean, even from like just right the get-go, like it was a hot record. You were the hot band. I mean, right off the fucking bat. Those recording sessions were
insanity. Those recording sessions were insanity, bro. Everybody
coming. Was it short? Was it long? Like, were you guys in? Did you have a good amount of studio time?
It was long and too long for me. And everybody fucked up, and everybody doing their thing, and tons of people coming by the studio, and other musicians and porn stars and some actors, and like late nights out afterwards, and then early in the studio, and writing lyrics on the spot, and like just real insane times. But Jay Baumgartner was a good, as I sit here like around pirate shit, he's a great pirate captain. He would rein it in. Okay, time to stop this. Let's go to work. You know,
he could herd the cats.
Yeah, but then he liked the party atmosphere as well.
Right
on. He liked what we were bringing to the table, and it was just, you know, it was a really cool time at that point. All the bands really hung out. All the bands that were from the Sunset thing. You know, we were all from the Sunset thing when the '80s killed the Sunset Strip, man.
Right.
When that thing started to fucking die out, you're talking. No one was going to the Roxy, the Whiskey. No one was going to clubs. It had petered out. Pearl Jam and Nirvana had come out with flannel shirts and stuff, and I'd never got into that. I'm still don't get it. And they killed the scene completely.
Yeah.
And then this new thing started happening, Cold Chamber and Deftones, and we were there at the Deftones show when Madonna came up in a fucking stretch limo and signed them the first night.
Oh, shit.
Like, we were there.
Yes.
Like, we were out there like fucking applauding and like, yes, let's all get signed. And Cold Chamber was in a van on their way, oddly enough, to San Francisco. You know, you're around your home base, and we got the call from System of a Down that they just got signed. And we were like, yes, like everybody's coming up like fuck now. And then there was like, you know, the later version of those new metal bands I did not root for, and I didn't like many of them, to be honest with you. So like at first we had, you know, we heard that Limp Bizkit like had said some shit about us, and I was like, really? Fuck them.
Oh, I remember this big beef between you and Limp Bizkit.
And then, you know, on my bus, of all places, Minneapolis, the Rave, you know that venue well. I'm sitting on my bus. I get a knock on my bus. It's all of Limp Bizkit. And Fred's like, bro, I'm so fucking sorry. Like I must have.
We were on tour together during this. We were on tour when all that went down.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck. And, you know, and he came on the bus like, I'm fucking so sorry. And then we all became fucking tight. That was during $3 Bill or whatever. But then after that, there were later new metal bands that were coming out. I didn't never feel, you know?
And then I want to say the next day, we all played a show. It was the three of us were on the pit. Cold Chamber, Machine Head were on the Pantera tour.
Yeah.
And then Faith No More and Limp Bizkit jumped on to the tour for one day in like Kansas City or something like that. And we the three of us all shared a dressing room. Limp Bizkit, Cold Chamber. Yes. It had gone from like, hey, there's fucking beef between Cold Chamber and Limp Bizkit. They're going to fight. And then I guess they came up and apologized. Yes. And the next day it's like
hugging. Him and me would fucking drink. Like probably one of my favorite guitar players still to this day. Like has his own crazy.
Such a character. He's a fucking maniac.
Like insaneness. Just insane. Just everything from his looks that he would come up to the riffs to everything. It's just like this guy, like he deserves, for me, I think he's one of the guys that deserves to be like in a Hall of Fame for guitar players.
Right.
Like he's just like fucking a scientific, you know, crazy scientific mind, you know what I mean? When it comes
totally.
to and then I don't know if you've ever seen his art as well, but you know, he's an insane bro. He's such an insane artist. What he can do with pen and paper and paint, like, is fucking, you know, I wish I had that. He's fucking.
Wow. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So that all happened. And then in came, like I said, the later version of those bands that was obviously trying to copy off what we did, but take it a little further. And I was never a fucking fan, you know? And by the middle to the end of the second Cold Chamber record, before we went in to do Dark Days, the third record, like I knew it was over, you know? And while we were recording Dark Days, we were coming in at separate times, not seeing each other. I had at that point, you know, wife, two small children. I knew I had to get it on. So I would drive all the way back from LA to Santa Barbara, then get in a car and drive up to the San Ynez Mountains, another hour and a half. And I was laying DevilDriver demos at that point at a goat ranch of all things. So that's how that timeline came together, is recording the third Cold Chamber record, the last one, and then doing DevilDriver demos at the same time. And I just knew I had to make an exit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that first Cold Chamber record when it hit, it like people were, I mean, it was you know, like you guys just captured the zeitgeist, you know what I mean? Like you captured something that fucking was just happening. I mean, it was fucking big, man. Like you guys were opening on the Pantera tour. This is 97. It's Pantera, Machine Head, Cold Chamber, and you're fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Well, you were killing
like, I mean, for an opening band to be doing that good was just like, I mean, you didn't hear, and then that wasn't a common thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you were doing Killer too, and then we were going up on stage with Pantera and killing it. Like everybody on that team was killing it. And I wonder what would happen, and the comparisons to Korn and Cold Chamber and stuff like that, if I had not passed on the record deal for over a year. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day when we first signed. Right. I wonder.
Right. Yeah. You might have been first, or
I missed it, or I would have missed it.
Right.
Or when we came out, it may not have been, it may have just went, oh, who knows? Maybe there had to be a scene behind it before we came up, really. So I don't know. I often look at that, you know what I mean? Like, what would happen?
Yeah. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
And I don't mean like, would we be bigger or any of that? I meant like, would it have worked? Like, would Cold Chamber have worked at that point? 94-ish, you know?
Right.
I certainly know between us, we wouldn't have on the road, you know? We had to get some
record comes out in 96, 97.
I got to think.
The Pantera tour we did with
recording in 95. We'll get the record deal in 94. I say no. I come back in 95. We're recording in mid to late 95. Record comes in 96, I believe.
Okay.
I could be wrong by a year. I don't know.
Yeah. And then you're touring I mean, you guys toured hard. I mean, we crossed paths a fucking gajillion times. We did Ozzfest together.
Yeah.
You know, that first Ozzfest that went across almost everywhere in the United States.
And 2 nights in a lot of places, right? We were on tour with Black Sabbath doing soccer stadiums with our fucking gear in cardboard boxes. Raina's bass cabinet was in a cardboard box.
Cardboard, what do you mean?
Like cardboard box. We didn't even have rigs. We didn't even have.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
We didn't even have amp rigs or any of that. We literally, shit was in cardboard boxes, and we wonder why at the tour fucked up and this, you know.
And you guys, I want to say, like, we were going on second on the main stage, which was, you know, sometimes was awesome, and sometimes was like you're playing to the one, you know, dude in a tie-dye shirt eating nachos. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, there was sometimes it was that guy, and then other times it was fucking raging and amazing. But you guys, but I remember going at this is hard, but there was some nights over on that second stage, you guys, it was Vision of Disorder, it was Neurosis, it was a very, you know, diverse bill, but you guys each did like. You did like 20 minutes each, two 20-minute sets, right? Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah,
which was crazy because it was like, if you did it early, it was always like a rager. But if you had to go up against Pantera or Manson jumped on like halfway through the tour and Pantera got bumped down.
Yeah.
What's that?
That would be difficult to do. Go against
like
those.
that was when that's when you were playing to the dude eating nachos in the tie-dye shirt at that point.
You know?
But what are your memories? I mean, that was a fucking huge opportunity for you guys. There was definitely many shows that I watched of you guys where you fucking literally brought the house down. I mean, that must have been just a thrilling fucking time for
it was an insane time. And I mean, thank God that Sharon Osbourne was from Europe and saw the lack of what was going on in America. There was no metal tours and nobody offering any of us cool bands, anybody, anything other than go out and tour. And she put it together. So God bless her for doing that. I think she single-handedly, and I still say this to that family, broke a lot of us. Like, we were, even if you could sell, let's say the Palladium out or the Palace out, like you were way bigger after you did Ozzfest, and you're bigger all over the nation now, because 2 nights we would do like 2 nights in Chicago, 2 nights in Boston or whatever, like the big cities, you do 2 nights. And that's an insane thing, man. When you've got that kind of, people checking you out, and it was always new fans, what was going on there, new people checking you out. So it's unbelievable. And, but I really thank her for that. I really do. And to this day, I think the Osbourne family, like single-handedly broke a lot of bands, a lot of big bands.
A lot of bands. I mean, so many bands came out of Ozzfest and, or just got put onto the stage that allowed that band to be seen, forever.
And much like you, I mean, you probably went on stage, right? Went back, toweled off, changed his shirt or whatever, and then went and watched bands. Like, that's what I did. Like, I was too early hung out. Too early in my career to like hang in the back of the bus and watch Star Wars.
Yeah, like let's go find Dez and get hammered.
Oh, wow. And hammered we did. Let's
go get hammered with the Cold Chamber guys. Or fucking the Pantera. Where's Dime? Like everybody wanted to find Dime because he was a fucking raging lunatic.
Well, you were always in the room with Dime and like Manson and me and Insamo and Meigs and everybody. I mean, we clicked out. There was people don't realize that even on Ozzfest, there was like a clique. It's like a clique of guys, a clique of bands who hung out, and then a clique of other bands who hung out and kind of wished they could get in the room and hang out with the other clique. I mean, it is what it is, but you and I were hanging out in that clique. God bless it. I mean, I can remember many times Manson puking before he went on stage because him and Dime drinking too hard, or me being told literally like, don't go into Insamo's room too early. Like I'd get off stage, I'm like, fuck, let's go get hammered with Philip, and Big Vin would stop me. Whoa, little guy. Like you're not going in there, right? He still has 3 hours before he's going on stage. I want you here an hour and a half. I'm like, dude, he called me over. He sent Cat, he called me over. He's like, I don't give a fuck what he did. You're not coming in right now and starting to drink, because those are the nights Philip would get hammered. And that was from drinking with all of us. I mean, you kind of, the sex, drugs, rock and roll thing like that, you get a little over that later, right? Obviously. But when you start, that's what it's about. For me, that's what it was about.
I mean, those shows were crazy. I mean, fucking, and like if you went to go and, we'd all go and watch Pantera on the side of the stage, and, both they had the full bar and the fucking techs bringing out shots to you, like while you're just standing there, like, all right, let's do a shot, let's do beer, it's like you were like, even if you didn't want to drink, you were fucking drinking.
And here's the biggest band, in the world looking at you, Rob, going like, get out here, sing with us. Dez, get out.
Totally.
Here. Come sing Walk.
Everybody,
Okay, and then you guys make sure you follow our bus. Why? Because we're going to strip clubs. Fuck,
right.
All right, you guys follow us because on a day off, the day off in Thanksgiving, they're throwing Thanksgiving rent a bar. They're throwing Thanksgiving for everybody. Like nowadays, there's some hater mentality in fucking bands. It's like, there really is. Like it's not even competition friendly anymore. It's just like whatever. No one's really fucking doing what those guys did, reaching their hand down and picking bands up and taking them out and, on days off at Thanksgiving, renting a bar and paying for it and all that. It just doesn't happen any fucking more. So I guess we were into, everybody says, though my days were the golden days, but no, for real, our days were the golden days, I think I was standing next to you. Fuck. See if you remember this. Were we standing together at Giant Stadium when Manson was sound checking, and he was full on Manson, full on dressed everything, full props, just sound checking, and Peter from Typo Negative walked by with like literally 3 women on each arm. I seem to remember like being with you, and we were like looking at Peter going, God, that's fucking, look at that shit. That's amazing.
He's the man.
Like 6 women with him. And then you and I think we're watching Manson, like sound checking, but in full on Manson mode. I seem to remember like being with you or having some conversation.
I have a memory. Yeah, I have a memory of this. Like I'm not. It's like piecing together, but yeah. I kind of do remember this. That I remember and Peter Steele. Like fucking
bro.
Funny. That motherfucker was so goddamn funny. Jesus Christ! Like his sense of humor was so dry and so fucking razor sharp, man. Like he just came with the deadpan. Like,
yeah. I'm West Coast, so I'm too slow. His New York wit, New York attitude was right there from the get go. He was cool with us. Took Gold Chamber out,
right.
I can remember one day in Russia, snowing like fuck, day off. I'm actually bumming out for some reason. It's been dark for, it's been dark for 3 weeks straight.
Right.
I'm just kind of bumming out a little bit on the lifestyle, just a little bit, and I went down to the Bahar, probably not the best place to go to get away from the negative headspace, but sometimes it is. I actually have a song about that on the new record called Give Me a Reason to Drink, about that whole thing. But I go downstairs.
What'd you say? You give me a reason to drink?
Yeah, it's a new song on Dealing with Demons. Actually, my youngest son Simon is a guest on that.
Badass.
But I'm sitting in this bar. It's Russia. It's in a weird hotel, real weird, communist colors all around me, kind of. It's just weird, man. I just want to fucking go home. Okay, it comes down. Here comes Peter Steele. Hey, what's going on? I don't know. I'm fucking bumming out. Let's drink a bottle of wine and talk. We always talk for like 4 fucking hours. Watch out for this in the industry. Watch out for that. What's going on with your headspace? Sometimes you just got to go to bed. Like I remember him saying that. Like sometimes just go to bed. Like sometimes that's what you need. Just some sleep if you're bumming out on this. And by then he'd already been in Typo forever, and still to this day. I mean, I jammed Typo last weekend. Last Saturday we were at a Typo. I just got it on. I collect vinyl and I just got it on vinyl. So,
Let me run this story by you. I want to see if you remember this. I've told this story a bunch of times, and it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite Cold Chamber, Machine Head, Pantera tour stories. Detroit, Michigan, Palace of Auburn Hills. Okay. Sold out. Yeah. Biggest show on the tour. Sold out.
Yeah.
And the night before, we do a show in Kalamazoo. And Kalamazoo is just like small towns. Like it's like a small field. Like it's like 1,500 people. It's pretty small, but it's a rager. It's awesome. But but after the show, because Kalamazoo is close, I guess, to Detroit. We're all not going to leave until like the morning. Like a lot of times, you'll just spend the night at a venue and then drive at 6 a.m. Like people who don't know that when you're on tour, if it's a short drive, you just stay there in the parking lot.
Which everybody's stoked for all the time. Like yes.
Totally. You get to sleep, got it. The bus isn't moving, right? Like you can go to sleep with the bus not moving.
Yeah.
And so Dimebag is on a fucking rager. He's running around. And for some reason, I've got a shit ton of fireworks. I have no idea why, but I've got like fireworks up I'm just blowing everything. I'm just fucking shooting shit in the air and fucking he's running around and it's him and Grady. And he's got 2 gallons of Seagrams in both of his hands, and Grady has a gallon of a liter of Coca-Cola, and they're just walking up behind people, grabbing them by their head, pulling their head back, and then pouring both of them pouring like Seagrams and we're blood. Do you remember this?
Oh God.
I mean, we're all out. We're fucking raging. I mean, all of us are hanging out with we're all in the parking lot, just the 3 bands, and we're fucking chilling. And then finally, I'm just like, fuck, it's like 3 a.m. I got to go to bed. Like, I got this big show tomorrow. I'm like, I got to be responsible. I got to sing. Like, fucking, I go back, throw up just to make sure I get all the booze out. And then I get up, and it's like 5:45 in the morning. And I look out, I'm just going to take a piss. And I look out the window. And I see Dimebag, and it's Raina, somebody else. I can't remember who it is, but it's definitely Raina and Dime. And Dime's standing standing on the roof of a VW Bug, stripped down to his tighty whities and his Chuck Taylors, and he's literally doing backflips, like just back splats on top of the fucking roof of this car. And I'm watching it. It's like a fucking Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm just like, I watch it, and the scene goes on for too long. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, whoa, holy shit. Like, at first I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then after a while I was like, whoa, this has gone on for like 5 minutes. Holy shit. So I go back to sleep. I'm like, fuck, get up. I wake up. And bring this up because what you said about don't go in there too early and get him drunk. I get off my bus. It's like whatever, 1:30 in the afternoon. Get off. Dime is now walking off the bus at the same time. And I'm like, hey, buddy. I'm like, what's going on, dude? And he's just like, immediately Royal runs up to me and goes, don't you fucking give him a drop of alcohol, motherfucker, or you're off the tour. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, what's up? He's like, he's been up all night drinking. I'm like, oh my God. You remember this?
That's right. I remember that. Royal, who people don't know, there's always one guy that's in charge of the whole, like, not just the TM or whatever. He's in charge of the rigging. He's in charge of everything. That was Royal. So one night I was with Philip on that. We got hammered as shit. So you think it's fun, want to break up a room a little. It's what rock and roll does. You always heard Zeppelin, The Who. Yeah, people, it's what you do. You break apart a fucking dressing room, right? I start doing it. I break a big mirror off, whatever. Oh no. About 2 hours later, someone knocks on my bus. Royal wants to see you right now.
Oh, shit.
I'm in big trouble. I walk in, Royal goes, sit your fucking ass down. And I was like, nobody talks to me like that. He goes, sit the fuck down. And I just shut the fuck up. I was like, this guy talks to me like that, right? He says to me the next night, and you probably remember this, the next night, he's like, because you did this, you can either A, leave the tour, or B, you can play tomorrow night with no production whatsoever and white lights on.
Oh, nothing. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard this story.
Yes. And I go, A, I'm not leaving the tour. B, I'll do fine in fucking white lights, motherfucker.
Right.
Let's do it, right? That was the lamest fucking show, man. But, we did it. We pulled it off. But he taught me a great fucking lesson. Like, hey, motherfucker, this isn't your tour. And even when it is, these promoters or who pays you, they're going to remember your name now. Your name is on the door. They're going to remember they walk in, they got to clean that up. Now your name is in their name. They're going to tell, which now you know the name, Live Nation, all the people they deal with. They're going to tell these people, they're going to tell two people, and you're going to be fucked, and you're going to go down as the guy who fucks up shit. Don't be that guy. And I immediately.
Well, here's the thing that I wanted to bring it up to you though, because this is the funny part of the story. So Dimebag doesn't stop drinking. Dimebag continues to somehow he finds some alcohol. He comes in our dressing. We were sharing a dressing room. He comes in, smashes Mikey's kit, just picks up Mikey's kit and smashes it on the ground like Mikey's warm up kit. And so we're sitting there. We go on stage. You guys go on stage, and I go up to watch you guys. Like I just want to catch the vibe, see how the crowd vibe is, and I walk. And I'm sitting there and I'm standing on the side of the stage and I can see Dimebag's on the other side of the stage and he's watching you and he's cockeyed and he's like, oh my God, fucking like, he's like one eye's closed and he's looking at you and he just walks out and starts air guitaring with you guys. And you're like, you're like, oh, hey, everybody, it's Dimebag Darrell. The crowd goes fucking wild. Like, what, yeah, fuck yeah. Everybody's losing their fucking mind. You're like, yeah, right on, Dimebag. All right. And then the song ends. You're like, cool, thank you guys hug. And he comes over to my side of the stage now where I'm standing. He's looking, he kind of fucking mumbles something at me. I'm like, holy shit. You guys start another song. And I can see him and he's kind of looking over at my guitar, like my guitar boat.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like,
don't touch my guitars.
And I'm sitting there and he just kind of looks over me and he kind of gives me this little cockeyed grin and he fucking goes over and he grabs my backup guitar and he puts it on. He starts like air guitar and then he walks back out on stage with you guys. And you're like, oh, hey everybody, look, it's Dimebag Darrell again. Like, yeah, crowd goes crazy, but you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like I could see like your reaction. I was always and still am the guy, like, don't fuck with my show. So, at the end of the tour, and you've done, you used to, like at the end of the tour, like you're the guy, like you're going to roll out drinks on the last song. That's right.
Like you're the guy, right? I was never. And I was always like, don't fuck with my show. Do whatever you want, but don't fuck with my show. You can't say that to Pantera. You can't say that. You can't say that to Machine
Can't say that to Dimebag.
You can't say it to Dimebag. You can't say it to Machine Head if they want to roll out drinks and lawn chairs and sit there for the last song and have drinks. You can't. And what you don't understand, or what people don't understand, well, what we understand, what people may not understand, is the camaraderie that builds between bands is insane. It's the most linking of moments. So instead of getting off that night and being pissed, I was like, wow, okay. For me, it was like Dimebag showing us love, you
Right,
you come out there, and often Vinny would come out and introduce us, come out and introduce you, come out and introduce the band all the time. And that's also another show of like, hey, I'm in a band that's doing 16,000 people a night. I got gold records and platinum records all over my walls as Pantera, right? And I'm introducing this band to you. Listen up.
Right.
Don't turn your back. Don't
Check
go to the
out.
bar. Don't go to the bar.
Yeah.
I always thought that was amazing. The first time I ever walked into Vinny's house, first of all, I'm like, the fucking pool is shaped like a Crown Royal bottle?
Right.
What? I was like, you know what, dude? I want to make that kind of money. I was like, this is insane. And they took me to his jukebox, and he had Cold Chamber on his jukebox. And that was like a real fucking, almost an emotional moment with me. I had a lot of fucking drinks, hanging out at the clubhouse with them, went back to Vinny's, and I actually had tears in my eyes. Vinny's like, watch this. And he pushed A, 15 or B, whatever. And here comes a record. It drops, and it's Cold Chamber. And I fucking looked at him, and I remember I had a tear in my eye, and he was like, it's like, oh, bro, come here, give me a hug. And I go, no, bro. Wow. Because in 92, like that was our shit. Me and Meeks just jammed fucking Vulgar. Like Vulgar was about 92, right? Vulgar. That we used to fucking jam that fucking record, man. Like, and now here we're on tour with this band. Insanity. Fucking insanity. And they're introducing us every night. Yeah. Man, it's fucking badass. Badass. Anytime we take out bands, I try to be the way those guys are. I really try.
Yes.
I really do. It's like, I know you guys are out here on a limited budget. You got nothing, but I sent you, whatever, $50 worth of Taco Bell tonight.
Right.
Which, people know is like, 55 bags of Taco Bell, And they come and and they're like, oh, guys, thanks so much. I'm like, dude, that's nothing for me. That's 2 T-shirts. And now you guys are eating. And plus you got leftovers for the morning if you're hungover, because a good fucking green burrito when you're hungover, fucking take that shit away.
That'll save you.
Like right now.
That shit'll save you.
That shit'll save you, So yeah, I've always kind of carried that in my heart. I mean, you're that guy too. I know you're that guy. So.
I remember that cycle ended. We left the tour, and then we headlined, and we ended up coming back together, and we were dropping our 3rd record. We recorded our 3rd record in LA, which is the first time we'd ever done that.
Fuck, I remember I went to those recording sessions. Remember, I went there.
You did.
Where
I was gonna say
that?
That's the first time. That's when I met Anastasia for the first time. Was at at Indigo.
Wait, were you up at
Indigo Ranch?
That's it. Yeah. You went up Indigo. But no, you recorded another record out in Burbank off this little street.
Right.
Were you just doing vocals there, or was that another record that we visited you on?
No, I was doing I think that was another record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of that studio, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Indigo Ranch. What a vibe. Dude.
Yeah. You started bringing Anastasia up there. That we had a bunch of parties all the time, and fucking like Vanilla Ice was there one time. Fucking, it was like, what the fuck?
Vanilla Ice, which actually he's a fucking
Stephanie Cabral. I remember Stephanie Cabral coming up all the photographer. Shout out to Stephanie.
I love her. I love big shout out to Mama. She's awesome. I love that time, that time period, and I loved Indigo Ranch. What a vibe.
Yeah. I want to say you guys were you guys doing chamber music at that point? Is that second record?
I remember I rolled up there in a limo. It was like my wife and one of her best friends was in town from Utah. Yeah. I married a Mormon girl, so she's a Mormon girl. Go fucking figure, right? And I'm with her and her friend. And there was a friend of mine actually. We were going to go somewhere that night, and he had a limo booked. And he's like, dude, I'm not using it, whatever. I have 8 hours. I've already paid for it. Like, go ahead and use it. So I was like, yes, I know some dudes that are recording, and it's 45 minutes away up in Malibu. I don't feel like driving or going in a car. So yeah, we came up there that night in a limo. And I remember I'm getting out of the car, and you're like, a limo, huh? And I mean, I know fairly well you're thinking like Roadrunner's treating you well. And I'm like, no, bro, this isn't Roadrunner. Like, this is a good fucking friend of mine,
You're like, this ain't Roadrunner.
And like, this is a guy that I got all my weed from, and he just happened to like have a limo that night and offer it to us.
Yeah. Ginevra was there though, and Ginevra, I remember Ginevra was in town just to hang out, and I remember her and Anastasia hitting it off, and like
How long were you
talking
guys
all
together
night.
at that point? How long were you together at that point? Were you married or just together?
No, we weren't married yet. Were we engaged? We might have been. We might be just getting engaged. We've been together for 7 years at that point.
I don't know anybody who doesn't love Anastasia. Like I said, she doesn't have a bad thing. I mean, that's why she's CEO of Oracle Management, because I can get a little hot-headed on things. I'm like, look, just you got a mind for business as well. And she's a real lovable, likable person. I mean, like when she went through cancer in 2019, you wouldn't believe the emails, the flowers, like at one point I joked with my kid, I go, this fucking place either looks like a funeral parlor or a wedding. Because at one point we found there was like 52 things of flowers, and 2 or 3 were coming a day. And there was a time when she actually like drug the trash can inside after flowers are wilting or whatever. And she's like, I got to get rid of a lot. Like a lot of this is remind me of like a funeral, because we didn't know where if she'd come out of it or not. But yeah, I don't know anybody who has a bad word to say about her. So I made her head of the company. So, and it's
what do you remember about the second record? I mean, this was a pretty big. This is that Ozzy's doing collaborations with you, and this is like pretty big. This is like. The first Cold Chummy record was pretty much gold, or about to be gold, and I mean, this must have been a pretty special time.
Yeah, I mean, look,
crazy, a lot of pressure.
No, a lot of pressure. Sophomore slump, which we suffered, definitely. Music had changed a lot. Band was going in a direction musically where I kind of didn't know what I was going to do to it, but being such a I guess lover of alternative music and 80s and stuff like that, I had kind of like, okay, I'll do what I got to do to it. But it was a real weird time at that point. But the thing I take out of that the most, obviously, is working with Ozzy. I mean, I wouldn't have met my wife if I wasn't at dinner at Ozzy's house and ended up going to the House of Blues one night. Ozzy and Sharon, I mean, I wouldn't have been with Anastasia if she hadn't. The first night I took her out, we got on Pantera's tour bus, picked us up before she even really knew I was a musician. And we went to go see Black Sabbath. And Sharon took her away for 3 hours. And I'm like, where? And she comes back and Sharon's like, she's the one, So I remember at that time, working with Ozzy was a huge deal. I remember the internal talk that he loved Peter Gabriel. And I was like, whoa, if he loves Peter Gabriel, this is going to be a no-brainer. Like, I love the song Shock the Monkey. And we asked him and he was like, yeah, I want to do it. Other than that was a real, let's get in, let's record. We got more touring to do. We got to hit the road. I mean, we were road dogs, at that point. Sharon had set a real cool studio up for me in that recording area, where there was video stuff on the walls, so I could make it like a rainstorm. I could come in, dark lighting, candles. It looked like a rainstorm, clouds. It was awesome. And so she made a real cool area for me to hang out in. The band was hanging but not hanging, but we were cool with each other. At that point. But there was starting to become some distance because of the substances that we did. Right. I suffer from ADD, ADHD. My parents gave me Ritalin as a kid, which is speed, which makes me just, everyone's talking in the room and I'm like this. You know what I mean? So I never went that route. I always went for the pills that made you go down, or wine and weed. And so we what we did started to separate us a little, because now I'm not joining in their reindeer games. Weed and a good Soma and a couple fucking Xanax and some wine, it's not good for them. And that's what eventually started to really tear at the fabric of who we were, which was so fucking terrible now that I look back on it. But really, it's a story to a lot of bands. I mean, and it is what it is. I don't think we had the wherewithal at that point, or the head to actually sit down and go, what are we doing? What are we really doing? And there was a point when we were recording, and this will be in the book, way more into it, but there was a point when we were recording out in Boston at
for the second album.
Yeah, for the second record, and Raina had a complete mental breakdown, stuck in a room, wouldn't come out, said there was ghosts all over the place, which that place was haunted as fuck now. And when we did hear her in her room, we did hear other people talking to her. We did, all of us, very plainly. As she's like, I can't get off my bed. I can't leave the room. There's people here dressed in 1800s clothing. They're not letting me. And we heard, actually, we heard people talking to her, but we had to call Sharon. And Sharon flew out literally within 24 hours, flew out to Boston and met with us and got us all in a room. It's like, what the fuck is going on? You're on a trajectory here. We got this. Don't fall into this. And that got us together for a while. But then, you know, the meth and the 8-ball started arriving for them, and the half pounds of weed through the mail or whatever arriving for me. And I'm now moving to a different room that's darker during the day because it's, and there we now moved away from each other in the compound, and now it's becoming, and then the first song we write is called No Home. And that was about literally having no home for so long, me not feeling at home with them, this relationship. And that's where it started to tear at the fabric of things.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Yeah. I didn't even realize it was that, you know, I mean, at least because we went out, because the record doesn't drop. We go out on tour with you. Amen's opening, Slipknot second, Machine Head now supporting you. You guys were opening for us. Now we're supporting you because you guys blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
And we go out, and you know, at least from the outside, I will say that like I thought that you guys all seemed, you know, together still. Like I didn't get that sense as much, you know.
Which is awesome on your point, because a lot of bands won't do that kind of thing. Like, well, you opened for me. I'm not going to go backwards and open for you, but you're a musician just like me. It's like, well, no, it's whatever it is. It's whoever's at a point in time, we all just take each other out. So awesome. You did that. But no, the headspace was fucking weird, man. And I'll tell you what, and I say this all the time, Slipknot coming out actually bonded Cold Chamber together more.
I was just about to say this because holy shit, you know, we're doing the Burning Red. Slipknot comes in like we're there living at Indigo for the last like 5 days together. So we're hanging out. They're getting ready to record their debut album. We're wrapping up recording the Burning Red. We get to know the guys, you know, like I give Corey Taylor my shoes that I just got from Vans, and you know, like all like we're hanging out. It's you know, like I don't even like, to me it's just 9 dudes from Iowa. Like I have no idea that they're wearing masks and fucking, you know, like it's just I'm like, wow, 9 dudes from Iowa, like that's crazy. You know. But so I'm hearing the record because I'm going in to record. Joey stays, you know, I'm there for the whole mix doing vocals of my own, and then you know I start to see the pictures and I was like, oh wow, this is fucking crazy. And then you and I talk like, hey, I'm thinking about bringing this Slipknot band, what do you think? I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds amazing. Like let's
you
fucking
had met them by that time and you were like, they're really cool guys, you know. So, we took them out.
But then we get out on the tour. And they had just done Ozzfest as their first tour ever and just fucking like exploded like nothing anybody had ever fucking seen. Like,
I mean, I think I don't know. I went to go see Stone Sour like last year, whatever it is, before all this COVID shit hit. And I think I was talking to, hey, Anastasia, let the Dane out. The Great Dane is standing at the door. Picking up Great Dane shit is not fun. So sorry about that. No. And I remember that. What I mean by it, they bonded, that made Cold Chamber bond together more. Because I remember being in Dallas on that first night and going in to see Slipknot. And this was at the point the crowd is going insane. Clown picks up, and he remembered this. I just did the Clown's podcast. And we talked.
Oh, I remember this too. I know what you're about to say.
Got a kid, knocked him the fuck out. And I saw all this, and I went back to the bus and said, these guys have 3 more songs, Meeks. You need to go see them. And he's like, yeah, whatever. We're Cold Chamber. We putting on his makeup, so whatever. We got this. And I'm like, yeah, we got this? I go, we got this this month. We got 8 weeks to follow this. So why don't you go now? Why don't you get out to the fucking bus? I literally said, get out the fucking bus. He's like, all right. That dude came back in. He probably watched 1 song. So 5-10 minutes later, Meeks came back in. Now he's Chinese and Mexican. He came back in, looked like he's seen a ghost. As white as the wall fucking behind you. And he says to me, we might need to call Sharon Osbourne. We might need to call somebody to get these guys removed if we've got 8 weeks of this.
Right. I mean, it was a fucking, I mean, like I've been straight up, I've even said this to Clown. I was like, the jealousy in my fucking, like, I'm a competitive dude, man. Like I was just like, what the, I was like, oh no. Like I just, you know, and they came up and it was like, I can't even describe it anyway. It was the equivalent of the Beatles for 1999.
There was of Kiss.
Yeah. I mean,
The
it was
equivalent
a
of Kiss.
fucking phenomenon that like I don't think anybody can understand how big
Yeah.
Slipknot was when they first hit. I mean, they were jumping off that tour to go on fucking Letterman, and like we were just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
you know, our record dropped halfway through the thing, and like they had just blown past. I mean, they were selling more merchandise than all three bands combined. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, what the fuck is this?
It's kind of hard to beat a band, nine guys in masks going insane. I mean, it's hard.
And then the arguments that we're having, you know, we're probably more with them than you are, because, you know, we're like going, you know, you're the headliner, so you're setting up all your shit, but like they've got to set up in front of us, and we're just like, look, man, there's 90. They're like, you need to strike all your shit and fuck you guys and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, hey, you know what? Tell the fucking keg guy to take a fucking night off. you know what I mean? I was like, we don't need the keg hits for tonight, okay? We're playing a fucking 800 cap club in Kansas. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I remember that.
But there was just all this fucking tension. I remember it kind of did in some ways. I know what you're saying about like how it brought Cold Chamber together, because it brought us together. We're like, fuck these fucking dudes, you know, like, and in some ways it made like everybody just wanted to fucking go destroy, you know, like we wanted to go, like you wanted to kill, I wanted to fucking kill, they wanted to fucking kill, and I'm sure it made for just a thrilling fucking show, because all were just,
I'm sure like fighters experience that, like, you know,
right.
Tyson, it's like, I've been number one, I knock everybody the fuck out. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got knocked the fuck out, you know?
Yeah.
And so they came out, they knocked the fuck out of everybody.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they did,
Totally.
they did, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it helps that I'm a Corey fan. The guy's got a great heart, so I like him, but you know, it helps when you got a badass singer. Like it fucking helps. And then it helps when there's 9 dudes, like just,
it was chaos.
Well, and then I being a Kiss fan, that's how I said, this is the new generation's Kiss. Like, excuse me, like you can be whoever you want for Christmas. You can be the nose guy, this guy, you can be the singer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, next Halloween, you can be this guy, that guy.
Right.
I was like, this is going to fucking be insane. And it was huge. So the rest is history. I mean, obviously they're one of the biggest, you know, metal bands on the planet right now.
Even now. Yeah. Even now. But, at that point, they were second to 4.
Who is bigger? Is Slipknot or Metallica? Like, who is bigger, Metallica or Slipknot at this point? Who? See what I mean? I just don't know.
Yeah.
That's fucking saying a lot. We're saying Metallica. Like, I just bought Ride the Lightning last week. I've been fucking jamming it on vinyl, you know, again.
Right.
And it's crazy to fucking to say that, but yeah, we were there and watched that band come up, which is awesome. I watched a lot of bands come up that I thought would do something. I mean, you mentioned VOD in the beginning an hour ago, or whatever, you know.
Right.
I thought that band would be fucking huge. I mean, I was a huge VOD fan. I thought their record fucking incredible frontman, incredible fucking live.
Tim was awesome. Yeah.
Insane live. Insane.
Yeah.
And I thought we
did a bunch of shows together. We did a lot of shows together.
Yeah, you did.
Cold Chamber.
Well, I think
and us.
Roadrunner bands, like there was a thing. And I don't know now looking back, because we're launching a record label next week. We just signed our first bands. I signed a band called Broken Jaw out of the UK, which I just want to plug it because you're going to fucking half punk rock, half metal. They're insane. First thing to come along in a year where I'm listening to it daily. But I think, so I realize now with that mentality, with the business mentality, that's what Roadrunner was doing as well, as putting all their bands out together. So if Cold Chamber was big, put Slipknot out. If Machine Head's big, put Cold Chamber out with Slipknot. You know what I mean? Pantera just happened to be not on Roadrunner, but happened to love what the fuck you were doing. I mean, gave you the main support slot. I mean, don't you remember in Dallas on the Pantera tour? It's like, what do you mean it's sold out? It's fucking like 18 to 22,000 people. Like, what are you in? What is this? This is like, aren't we doing metal? Like, this is insane, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what they did. They put a lot of their bands together, and it's real fucking smart moves. You know, in the end, smart moves for them, you know, and gave us a chance to help bands up, or, you know, whatever, you know. I certainly know you helped me through my career, so I appreciate it, homie.
Yeah. And then I remember, so like, I want to just kind of move into DevilDriver here. I don't necessarily need to dwell on the breakup of Cold Chamber. I saw you guys come out on the third record came. You guys came to the Fillmore. It was you guys and Drowning Pool.
I mean, to be honest, we were texting with Meeks yesterday, so like everything is fucking real good. So.
Yeah. Awesome. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that, man. That's killer.
We were talking. Anastasia was texting back and forth with him, and so it's all fucking good. So
yeah,
people have.
I mean, it was. I remember. I know what you're saying though about the music had changed and like the scene had changed and like you guys were touring with Drowning Pool, and I think it was like that's probably the first time that I sensed like there was some stuff going on in Coal Chamber. You know what I mean?
That was a hard suck up for us. I got called for the Drowning Pool. Like, God rest Dave's soul. I loved him. We hung out every fucking night.
Super nice guy. Super nice guy.
And like all the shit you shouldn't do. God rest his soul. So, but that was a hard one for Coal Chamber to swallow. I'm the one that said, no, we'll open.
Because you guys were, they were headlining.
Yeah, we got called. They were like raging on the fucking radio, records flying off the
Platinum,
shelf.
The fucking one.
And we got called to do the tour, and I was like, look, we either don't do a tour with a band who's going to draw huge and they're all over the radio, which will give us, radio stations come to talk to you if you're with one of those bands. And at this point, and I was like, let's go do it. And I think that was a real hard thing. Meigs, God bless him, and part of the Hispanic culture that I love, they have a lot of pride, and he had a lot of pride. And I think he was like, fuck, like, really? Like, why are we opening? Like, we've plainly went out with Pantera, Sabbath, Machine Head, took Slipknot on tour. Like, why now are we going out with this band? Like, and I wasn't really a fan of the music. I wasn't, and neither was me.
I always thought their big hit sounded so much like Coal Chamber.
Of course it did. But the bodies, of course it did. But and I wasn't. But when I met Dave, this is the kind of guy he was, and this is what made me so like. After the second day of the tour is good. The first day of the tour is like we're all going. We meet. We're going to meet at dinner. Big, huge, long table. We sit down. Dave comes. Is not trying to play some guy. And he just comes sit right next to me. Dez, what's up?
Right.
I'm a huge fan. I'm coming over to the bus later. I'm going to bring my CD case. Because remember when you used to come bring your CD case? It was that thing to prove what a metal guy you were.
Your giant thing that opened up.
And that proves what a music guy.
Scratched. Fucking.
And it proves what a music guy you are. Look what I've done. And he would come over. And dude, at that dinner, we fucking hit it off so hard. We were doing shots. We were hanging. He came over. We were partying all that first night. We were both hung over that fucking first day for that tour. And then I became a Dave fan. Then I was always like, you come to my bus. We're watching fucking horror movies, which for me is like Dracula and stuff. I never watched any slasher. I still to this day don't like any of that shit. If they kill women, they slash women with knives. I don't watch it. And, but he used to watch all of that stuff too. And he came one day from a signing, which I was like, why aren't we going to a signing? Like, we're in this town, we're Coal Chamber, and you guys are going to a signing. I don't have a signing. And he came back with his signing with like a stack of fucking movies for me. All the Hammer collection, Hammer horror.
Oh, badass. Yeah, all the old schools.
Oh, dude, I still fucking have them. That's the kind of stuff like I can't get rid of because it's like somebody gave it to me. Those CDs or my Evil Dead sweatshirt Philip gave me. Because I was staying at his house. I had no fucking home. He's like, you look cold. And I was like, yeah, I'm fucking plainly cold. Your house is freezing. Like, here's a fucking hoodie. Evil Dead hoodie. I still have that. That's like my...
Like, turn on the heater, motherfucker. Turn on the heater, motherfucker.
Like, here's a hoodie. So, yeah. Good times.
Yeah. No, but that was the first time that I sensed... some internal stuff with Coal Chamber. And, I love Mikey, love Raina, love Nadia.
I love them all. I love them all.
Meigs. I love Meigs. Love Meigs. Like, shout out to Meigs. Like,
love him. Love all those
guys. My boy. Like
Mikey's extremely successful right now. People have to realize we're just doing Coal Chamber stories. Like, I got a DevilDriver record coming, a double album. We're talking.
I know. We'll get into that.
Here's the thing. And I'm actually here just to talk because I haven't seen you in a long time. So it's great.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get. I went like, to me, these things are like life story. Like, I just want to know what makes you tick. Like, why are the choices? Why did you go here? That thing, like why you're here and why you're still here. Like why are you still here?
I'm still here. I'm still here because I love the art. I love making records. A little bit of touring I do, and I love being on stage. Everything else I just don't fucking like. I don't like the fame. I don't like people knowing me, or I'm in the grocery store the other day and a kid comes up and that's all cool, but I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me, Right. But to go back to Mikey, like people didn't realize he joined the band when he was 16.
I know, he was so young.
He tried out against his brother, which now
crazy.
Knowing that he got it was great because his brother went on to own like fucking 19 or 20 fucking restaurants successfully. Like the guy's fucking so wealthy.
Awesome.
And so now I think Mikey, you know, he's very stable. He has a young son. He's fucking married. He runs a huge construction crew. I mean, he's working on $1 million homes in Malibu and everywhere else. Like whenever him and I are talking, we're talking, he's a stock trader. I'm a stock trader. We both trade. So we both have conversations about that. And he'll hit me, God damn, we made money. Like I told him a stock to get in a couple weeks ago. He got in, or about a month ago, he got in. He made money. He hit me up, Dad, Dez, thank you so much. And I said, right on, man. You know, say hi to Bash. That's his young son. So he's got a real stable life. But from the time he was, you know, for his younger life, and I'll let him tell his story, very unstable life. Very unstable. Maybe make ours look way unstable. And then he goes on tour from the time he was 16 to 23 or whatever it is. You know, he had no stability. So now he's got real great stability. He owns a huge company, massive company. You know, he's not just some construction guy. I mean, I'm talking, you know, the people that he tells me he's working on their houses, I'm like, really? Like, give me a fucking autograph. Like, I love that dude, you know, actors and stuff like that. So it's good to see him successful. You know, Meigs is doing something else right now musically. So he still loves music. And, you know, me and Nadia were, I guess, tweeting back and forth yesterday. You know, I love her.
Right on.
But it was time to go, right? It was just time to go. It was just time to go. You know, and that thing was
Was it a hard decision to like take that step away, you know, because you're going to basically go back to square one. I mean, not square one because you were Dez Fafara, you know, but like,
no, it was square one.
Still.
Square one. Yeah. It was me with a young wife, not married yet, young kids, on tour with people. I was on my own tour bus. They had their own tour bus. We couldn't see each other. And one night on
Cold Chamber.
Yeah,
Cold Chamber. Yeah, okay.
Cold Chamber. And then one night on stage, and everybody says, like, you know, oh, you guys got in a fist fight. Like, no. Actually, we were just like making shitty eyes at each other. And Meigs was walking over going, fuck you, like in the middle of songs. And actually swung his guitar at me and missed. The story is he hit me.
Oh, shit.
I missed. And I walked off stage. And it was, God, where was it? It was in Texas. It was in a little one-horse town. But I left. And I told at that time, I told the runner girl, hey, can you take me to the airport? And fucking, that was it. And on the packing my stuff up, he knew that I had left the stage and I wasn't coming back on. He thought maybe I was leaving for a second just to get my head right, but I wasn't coming back on. And he came running on the fucking bus. And we met in the middle of the hallway, head on, like stags. I mean, head on and full on fucking fist fight in the middle of the fucking bus.
Holy shit.
People tearing us apart. And I'm screaming, you fucking ruined my life. This was my band. You fucking, and he's like, fuck you, motherfucker. And it was done. I went to, I caught a flight, late night fucking flight out, red eye out. That was when you could swipe your card and make a phone call for $850.
Right.
I swiped my card. I told my wife who picked up the phone, why aren't you on the bus? What's going on? I said, A, I'm on a fucking plane right now. B, I'm 3 or 4 hours from home right now. You got to send a town car, something to come get me. And I'm out. I'm done. And I'm done. And that was it. And that was it for me. And I went home and had to scrape it up. And me and my wife just scraped it up. I fucking scraped up all the money we had, whatever we had. We actually moved out of a pretty big house that we were renting at the time in Santa Barbara, moved into a 1-bedroom studio. Not even a bedroom. It's a studio apartment with fucking 3 cats and 2 fucking small kids. Her and I sleeping on the outside of the couch. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I've done it. I got Gold Records. I've done all this. You know everything I've done. There's fucking nothing in this for me anymore. And I'll never forget the conversation, man. It was fucking late night. I was smoking a cigar out on the patio, stressed the fuck out in my life. What is going to go on here? And I could go back to many things. I could go back to Brick Lane. I could go back to a lot of different hairdressing. I could go back to a lot of things. And she's like, well, what's your love in life? And I said, music. Always been music. It'll never be anything but music. I don't give a fuck about the fame. I don't want the travel. I don't care about the gold record. I don't give a fuck. Yes, I've made money. I care about music. I want to make music. And she's like, then you got to go for it. And you got to go for it hard. The rest is history. I formed, I met some guys around town in Santa Barbara. Actually, John Berkland, who was later on I find out is driving past my house at night to find out if my lights are on or not because he found out I lived there. And he was a Cold Chamber fan. We had Cold Chamber tapes and
right.
Fucking, I met this guy. I went to breakfast early one morning. This guy sat next to me named Evan. Big fucking dude. Hey, are you Dez Fafara? I was like, yeah, and I'm also eating. What can I do for you? And he's like, well, here's my phone number. If you ever want to jam music, I'm a guitar player. And it took me about a week and a half. And I told my wife, this guy fucking jams guitar. Should I check him out? She's like, well, yeah. What are you doing? We're here now. What are you going to do? And I met Evan. He came over. We fucking bonded, like real bonded, like fucking bonded. The kid is the most incredible. I talked to him last night, actually, Evan. We still talk constantly. He went through some similar things.
So he was the guitar player. I guess he wrote a bunch of stuff, but then
he wrote
maybe
the whole
didn't.
First record. He wrote the whole first record. Right. And John was drummer, not playing any guitar at all, not writing nothing, just drum.
Yeah.
And then,
but is the three of you the nucleus of DevilDriver, or what would become DevilDriver?
Yes. And then we had I don't know if they know this, is way before Volbeat, or we had a stand-up bass in the band. So DevilDriver's first demos have a stand-up bass. And we were rehearsing with a stand-up.
Throwback to the psychobilly days.
That's what I'm saying. So, I incorporated that into DevilDriver. Oh, bro, heavy metal with a stand-up bass sounds fucking insane.
That's great. I don't know. I can't think I think I've never heard that. Like, I'm kind of curious to what that would sound like.
It's nuts. And I made phone calls. I got this guy a black stand-up bass with eyes in the head that glowed and all this shit. I was like, we're coming out. We're going to come out with something so badass. But when we took that cat, and he'll remain nameless because I don't want to embarrass him, but when we took that cat to the studio, he couldn't do it. And we were with Ross Hogarth at the time, who was a huge fucking producer at the time. And he just, he did Dark Days. He did Cold Chamber's last record, Ross.
Okay. Gotcha.
Hogarth. And he was like, this guy's not cutting it, dude. We've been trying to lay the bass for 1 week. And this studio, it's Guns N' Roses' old studio. It's thousands a fucking day. Like, we got to figure something out.
This is still back when studios cost hell of money.
Hell of money. And I said to Berkland, hey, we've already got Jeff in the band now, your friend. Do you know anybody?
Jeff Kendrick. Yeah.
He's like, yep, I know a guy named John Miller. I grew up with him from Boston. It just so happens he's sleeping in his car outside the fucking hotel we're staying in right now. because he went to a show the other night, and I guess he talked to John and ended up sleeping and was at the fucking studio, dude. I mean, like 2 hours later, I told Shaq, gotta get your stuff, gotta go. This guy was a big cat, actually. He was about 6'7", and I had to tell him, hey, you're out, and stuff almost ensued with us, which I clearly informed him, you may hit me, but you won't leave here. Like, I'm that kind of guy. If you're gonna fight with him, you're not leaving here alive, bro. And he left. Miller comes in, killed it on bass, and then that's what formed the unit.
Holy shit! Like that. What a crazy, conflux of.
And then look, I mean, I almost feel like I say it all the time. I told John, I feel like I was conned because I had no idea that John Berkland, Jeff Kendrick, and John Miller all grew up together in Boston.
They had conspired to get him in the band behind your back. They're like, just fly out, just fly out and sleep outside of the hotel.
I had no clue.
That's pretty funny. They're just like, yeah, just come out. We'll get you in the band.
Yeah, and we'll get you
there. Outside of the hotel for a while.
I'm sure Berkland, now that I look back at it, was like, hey, this bass player is not going to work out. Like, he'd already had a couple run-ins with me. Here's what I did. I got a hotel room, the Sportsman's Lodge in LA. So I got a hotel room at the Sportsman's Lodge, and I knew the manager woman. I go, look, I got to make a record. I'm going to be here like 3 fucking months. I got no money, but I'm going to have 2 beds in the room, and I need you to bring up 3 cots. And me and my band members are going to live in one room. If we're cool, if we don't make any noise, if we keep the room clean, can we do it? And she's like, yes, but 1 fuck up, and you guys are out. And that dude did the 1 fuck up. About 3 weeks in, or about when we were getting ready, after he's getting ready to start his bass parts, he got real hammered. Sitting there drinking 12 beers, and I could see him start changing. And he just kind of stood up to me in the hotel room one day and was like, you know what, Dez? And I was like, no, what? And he was like, I should this and I should that. I said, okay, here we go. But you're going to get thrown off the balcony. I'm going to throw you off that fucking balcony, bro. Like, I don't care. I'm going to drag you over there. And that was it, But I put us all in a small one room to see, I had already been on tour on a bus. I know what it's like to be close court. And I was like, I'm going to and I myself took the floor. I took the floor, then I took the bed, then I took the floor to show those guys it's not a king thing. I'll fucking sleep on the floor too, but we all got to see who's who. And I woke them up every morning to the beginning of Platoon. the movie Platoon.
Oh yeah.
I woke him up every morning
What?
to that. Like,
What's the beginning of Platoon? I'm like, I'm
it's
brain
like
farting right
a
now.
whole
Just
saying.
saying.
It's like a whole saying, a whole thing about like just this crazy shit. But
Oh, the speech that the dude gives about the fucking I love the smell of napalm in the morning and all that shit.
all of that, just to try to get them in the mood.
Right.
And it's very
get them in war
very
phase.
interesting what you learn 3 months in a small hotel room. You learn about guys. You learn about everything about them, how they treat people on the phone that they're with. And you're like, wow, really? You just talk to your mom like that, your girlfriend like that, your best friend like that? I'm over here. I'm waiting for you to be like that on me. Like, I'm waiting. You start learning so many things about guys, but that's what started it. You know, that's what started the whole band right there.
Yeah. And then you guys go in, and that fucking record, man, like, I gotta say, like, I was well impressed with, you know, you kind of almost just seamlessly jumped into another band. You know, like, bands don't generally fans don't generally welcome like a new band instantly. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't always happen. You know, it doesn't always happen. And like that fucking record came out, and people were just like, "Fuck this fucking devil!" Like everybody was like all about the fucking DevilDriver. You know, like it was kind of.
It was a trip. It was a trip how that.
I mean, that first record did fucking great. Like great, you know, great number, like big.
Which
you know,
is funny actually, because my wife was like, you know, she's doing manager stuff, so she's reading my Wikipedia or something. And she's like, it says here the record on your Wikipedia, you know, it says here the record wasn't received well. And I'm like, well, whatever. It's fucking Wikipedia. I don't
maybe not critically, you know.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm getting that changed because I was here and I remember what that sold the first week and how that did and everything. So,
yeah.
But I don't know if it was seamless. I think what it was, Rob, is and you got kids and you got a girl. You gotta get the fuck on with it.
Right.
You got to get the fuck on. It's time to get the fuck on. I wasn't going to wait a year or 2 or 3 or any of that, you know. And then it was at the death of nu metal as well. So you took, you know, anybody in that scene. I mean, even Korn at that time, everybody in that scene took a backlash like motherfucker. I mean, in the 2000s, like, you know, those bands were not cool to mention. Like, you know, so I don't know. It was really,
and it looked good for you, because it was heavier. It wasn't new metal. It was like this new thing that was, you know, you were singing heavier.
Yeah, but people were like, hey, the reason you left is because nu metal died. I'm like, no, motherfucker. I left because my bandmates, who I was brothers and sisters with, like, went their own ways. So now it's time for me to go find a new restaurant, fucking get some good fucking Italian food. Like, I'm out of here.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what it was.
I gotta say the next album is, you know, like I don't think I really heard it like at least initially on release. And I mean, I think I saw the videos and stuff like that. Fury of Our Maker's Hand. But when I heard, I forget when it was, but when I heard End of the Line, I was like, oh shit. Like it was fucking, I was like, this is a brutal metal. This is a fucking class. And I think I saw you guys around this time. It was, I want to say you guys played like a Metal Hammer Awards or something like that.
Yeah.
Metal Hammer something Awards. Like that. And I remember watching you guys do that song and I was like, holy shit, this is so fucking heavy. I was like, this is a banger right here. Like cool. That's a smash right there.
I always remember you saying the End of the Line was your favorite track, which I have some favorite tracks that you do as well. So that's all good. We got our favorite tracks we each other do. And
I mean, that was what was your mindset going into that record? Because that was really like it seemed to me like you guys gelled, like you definitely got heavier. Like it seemed like there was an intensity that wasn't there on like that was different, very different from the first record.
Evan was out. People don't realize he wrote the record, and before the very first tour, like we're getting ready to go tour with In Flames. 5,000 people a fucking night. And Evan calls me and is like, Dez, like I can't leave. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're plainly leaving in fucking 2 weeks, man. What are you nuts? Our record's doing well. We're going out with In Flames. Maybe you're not familiar, but they're huge. Our first show is going to be in front of like 9,000 people in Sweden. Like, what are you talking? That's what I'm talking about, Dez. I can't do this. I can't do this touring. I don't want to do this. I want to stay at home. He trimmed bonsais. He was a real like spiritual cat. He's like, I don't want to do this. I just want to make music. And I'm like, well, you got in a fucking band with me. Now you're my guitar player. You got to do this. And he said no. And so we called Mike Spritzer in at the last minute. We'd all known Mike from being around Santa Barbara. Mike stayed up for 24 hours, 48 hours on the plane learning the fucking riffs. And his first show was in front of 1,000 fucking people.
Holy
Like,
shit,
the
crazy.
The headspace for me was, Evan's gone now. This is my brother. This was my second Meigs. This was my dude. I ate at his house. His mom talked to Anastasia. Everybody's tight. What are these guys going to do? Then I found out Jeff wrote, John Berkland played guitar, Miller played guitar, the bass player played guitar, and I was like, okay, start writing. And I started to get the music, and it was different than anything I'd worked on. Let's just say it didn't have as much of the style I was used to. So it was actually more metal. So I could see where you're like, fuck, it was actually more abrasive, heavier. And I just said to myself, God, this stuff is incredible. I sat down in my little apartment in Santa Barbara and started writing to that stuff and was like, okay, this is going to be off the hook for sure. And I knew we were on a direction at that point, you know, and of course the band's all bonding as well. We're all hanging out. My stories are still interesting to them. You know, there's a vibe, you know, and it was fantastic at that point.
Yeah, that's awesome. You went into, who recorded that record?
We went into Sonic Ranch to do that.
In Texas, right?
Yeah, and I think didn't Colin do that? I think
Did he? Okay.
Either that or Fury. Either that or Last Kind Words. I don't know. I'm kind of like, you know.
It starts to blur together after a while.
Yeah, we went out at Sonic Ranch, which is in El Paso, and it's, you know, out.
Which is probably maybe a good thing because it's like a very remote, like there's nothing around. Like you guys are kind of forced to focus on
nothing,
just music and yourselves, and
that's it, you know. And the vibe is happening, you know. We're drinking, we're hanging out underneath the Texas stars. I love Texas. I always have loved Texas. I've always loved the desert. As a matter of fact, I live in the desert / mountains now. I mean, you know, it's just 121 degrees here the other day. It's like, I enjoy the desert. I think that's part and parcel, like from when I was a kid, motorcycle riding in the desert, going to the desert with my family. I've always loved the environment. So that environment where you had to take an hour drive into El Paso to go to like a steakhouse really worked.
Shit.
Yeah, like you know, I would say, and the rooms and stuff are immaculate. It's amazing to record there. And the guy who owns it, Tony, is just a spot on killer guy. So I think that led us to just kind of really bond out, you know. And it was do or die too. It's like, look, the second sophomore slump, I'm not going through that. Let's go hard,
right?
You know. And on the third one, you know,
that's an interesting take on it because you had your sophomore slump with Cold Chamber. You're like, I'm not doing this again. Like, we've got to fucking
the only thing that drug the sophomore slump out of with Cold Chamber was the song with Ozzy, Shock the Monkey, because of course it was on every fucking radio station, you know. So, you know, but thank God that song, and then No Home, people really resonated.
Great song though.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, people really resonated with that. But yeah, that's how that happened, and then the bonding experience from there really kind of really bonded us, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. I mean, what a fucking career you've had. Like, you've had I mean, you're going on, this is your 7th album now with DevilDriver?
Yeah.
That's
I feel
fucking
incredibly
crazy.
blessed. I know you do. I mean, if you're a longtime cat and you're not appreciative, you're not humble, you know, and you're not blessed, and you don't
absolutely
feel that way, wow, really? Like,
yeah, like I shouldn't be here. Like, you know, like I say that, like, and fucking, I'm like, I don't know why the fuck we're here.
You know why, Rob? You know why you're still here? You know why some of us are still here? I think there's it's kind of, I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm having a brain fart. It's authentic. There's an authenticity to what you do, or I'd like to think there's a sincere authenticity to what I do. It's the only way you'll exist for a long period of time. And then if you don't carry appreciation in your heart and you're not humble, you're fucked. You know, you're done. You know, like even me, I'm wearing sunglasses in the interview, but they're prescription. So otherwise you'd be a douchebag wearing sunglasses in an interview. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a certain thing that there's a certain authentic thing I think people get from guys like you. You've always spoke your mind. You've always been a guy who speaks your fucking mind, does what the fuck Robb Flynn does. Now, if Cold Chamber was mine, like Machine Head was yours, then you could get rid of some members. You could, you know, you've done that. You've changed members or whatever you need to do to keep yourself on track. I couldn't do that with Cold Chamber. So with DevilDriver, I really took that stance of like, this is my project, and you please be cognizant. I'm not leading my own band ever again. Right. So there's an authentic thing to that. And I think people see right the fuck through it, you know. I mean, especially now with like Zoom interviews and everything else. And you used to have to go to magazines and read what you said with a photo that you planned to take. And I did too.
Right.
That looked
Right.
cool. Now it's a different story. Now it's like, really? I'm right here. Hi.
Right.
And you are too. And you are too, you know? So I'd like to think I have a lot more years left, man. I still have it in my heart to go out and kill. I know you are. I say it all the time. If you're 20 years old going on before me, fuck you. I'm going to put you to waste. If you're 20 years old going on after me because your manager made a good move or your agent's bigger or some fucking reason, fuck you, I'm going to get you. And when it looks bad, me, when it looks bad, right? And when I can't do it at that ability, like the leaving mentality from fear, when I can't do it at that mentality, I'm out.
Right.
So there's a certain authenticity that comes from that, I think.
Tell us a little bit about your new album that you're dropping here, part 1 and part 2, double album, 2 parts.
Plan was 2019, do the record, release it late 2019, go on tour 2020, 2021, right. 2023. So the plan was double record, staggered release. I'm really now for bands that release records every 2 years, not 3, 4, 5. You and I were raised when people released one a year. You and I both know that's insane. There's no way to do that, but every 2 years. So I was like, let's do a double record. Let's release it, staggered release in late 2019 or 20. And in 21, let's stay on the road 3.5 years straight. Let's do the road. Let's do the world twice, then come off, then do another one. Pandemic, social unrest, not going to happen. But dealing with demons for me, since you're a lyricist, you'll get it. I want to move on and talk about other topics. I've been talking about the human situation my whole life. I want to move on. So I dealt into my own demons and what I think is society's demons. So the first song that actually just spent 10 weeks at #1 on the metal charts, you know, that's a album-driven chart. Album-driven chart. Thank you. Album-driven chart that we were driving with a single, Keep Away From Me, which we kept a lot of heavy bands from getting #1 at bay with that song. So I think part of it is the music was outstanding from the band, for sure. Incredible for me. And then lyrics as well, I dove deep. And I did a song about my agoraphobia, my social distancing my whole life, the fact that I don't do well around a lot of people. You've known me for a long time. I do better around a few intimate friends. It's real rare for me to see me at a big party or don't invite me to the Grammy Awards parties. Like, I'll tell you I'm coming, but I'm plainly texting you 20 minutes before I'm supposed to show up. And I'm not coming. God bless my wife. She's had to deal with it constantly. Right. She's ready to go in a brand new, beautiful dress. And I come out of the shower and go, I don't feel like going. And instead of a fight ensuing, she's like, I love you, honey. You are you. Let's put on a movie. So God bless her for that. So that's what that song is about. Keep Away From Me. And very timely as well, because of course with the social distancing and the pandemic and everything. Then the next single we released was Iona, and that's about dealing with society's demons. Like, why would I ask you what your favorite fucking movie is? You're going to say Halloween to me or fucking Chainsaw Massacre. Like, they plainly skin and kill women in that movie. Why are you running home to fucking tape CSI? Why the fuck are you addicted to murder porn TV? Like, what the fuck is going on with you? And now I'm questioning you because that's your favorite shit. I don't fucking like that. I have 4 sisters. I got a wife. Like, it's fucking trips me out. So we're exploring that, the human demon of that, and let's have some dialogue. Nest of Vipers, which we just released, which was my first song co-written.
Great song title, by the way. That's a fucking great song title.
That comes from Neil. That's my first time writing lyrics. I don't know if do you write lyrics with your band members ever? It's hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally.
I never have. Simply because I said, anytime you've got one, bring it. And no one ever does. But Neil did.
There's that for sure.
They don't. I mean, you tell them all the time, bring me some, and they don't, right? And Neil brought the chorus or partial chorus and the name Nest of Vipers. So it's real cool being in like, I've only had one major lineup change in 22 years, all right? But my other lineup change, and God bless Brooklyn, all those guys, but when they wrote songs for me and they'd give them to me, it'd be like, this one's called R2D2. This one's called, or whatever, and it's like, bro, you're not giving me anything. This band is different. They give me songs with like names. Iona was given to me, and I looked up Iona, and it was a legend of a ghost girl on a highway all over the United States. Everyone has those legends, and I started to write about that. And then also do the topic about humanity and what's this all about. And Nest of Vipers is co-written by me and Neil, and it's about loyalty. It's about how loyalty can be bought and sold with men and women in business and in personal life, and how you don't want to be around those fucking people. And if you see that, just be aware of it. You're the next guy to be called to a sit down and get fucking hit. Like, watch out for those type of people. So every song that's why it's called Dealing with Demons. That's why the record company went along with a double record, and everything that goes entitled with that, which is double this, double money, double the work for everybody, is they knew I wanted a double record to get this all out of my way, write about my own personal shit. And also, I don't know how you are, but when people ask what songs are about, I never tell them. I never my whole life have told them, what is this song about?
Oh, okay.
If you think it's about a sunny day, I'm not going to tell you it's about a dark, rainy day. It ruins your whole fucking take on what the fuck I'm doing. And now, you know, the song that got you through your hardest time, Dez, now I ruined what you think it is. But on this one, every single song is a story. I'm cutting loose with, like, this is a real personal thing to me, but like, and it's ruined relationships with me, but like, I don't like going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
are you telling people what the song's about now?
Absolutely. Every single song. And it's kind of a big deal. And everyone's coming to me on social media like, dude, I totally get that. I just had my best friend rip me off for fucking $500. There it is. Loyalty's bought with money. Dude, I'm just like you. I don't like going places with a lot of people I don't know. There it is. You got social distancing in your mind too. And I'm finding that like a lot of people are relating to this. And I knew it was going to take a double record to get rid of it. And the funny thing is number 2, and I know you have certain songs on your records that are your babies, right? It could be the later half of the record even, right? But the first part of the record maybe is going to get a radio song or whatever, so you got to go with it. The second record is my baby, and I wanted that to be released first. But Keep Away From Me was on this record, very timely, perfect time to release it. Also, there's a song called Wishing on there that's about the demon of like loneliness, and it's about what I would be if my wife was not with me. Would I even have the strength to go, or would I go sit in my 78 Brits with the door closed and listen to Elvis as I fucking succumb to the gases? And it's also my first clean vocal I've ever done with DevilDriver.
Oh, cooler. Awesome.
So during the Fury of Our Maker's Hand, I made a statement, there will never be clean vocals. I did a lot of clean vocals in Cold Chamber, tons of them. There will never be clean vocals in DevilDriver. Because I really don't like the clean chorus thing where bands use that to get the radio.
Right, the metalcore thing, yeah.
Heavy verse, clean chorus, radio. I want to stay away from it. So I'm doing clean verses, very Bauhausy, Sisters of Mercy feel, very much of that part of me.
Very
and then
cool.
a real heavy
awesome
chorus, and it's called Wishing. So the fact that those 2 songs were on Volume 1, that's why Volume 1 is released first. But Volume 2 is like, and I'll just send it to you. I mean, we're brothers. I trust you implicitly. I'll send you both records. And when you hear the music even on Volume 2 is fucking phenomenal. When I say I'm at the top of my game with the musicians, look, I've always had what I think are great musicians around me. I'm blessed for all those cats that we've been talking about.
Jonzo was sick. You know, even new guys sound sick too.
I'm blessed for all those guys that are ever around me. I'm blessed. I'm not a hater, but where I'm at now with the guys I'm at with now, there's a musicianship that's fucking incredible. I mean, and Neil, my guitar player, is like he's incredible. You can tell the kid has been playing since he was fucking 7. You know, he's just fucking insane. And Mike Spreitzer is like the sound of DevilDriver. Like that motherfucker just from the moment he came in. And the other form of the band, before I changed some members, like they would never tell me who wrote what. It's like, who wrote what? They're never going to get Berkland wrote that. Miller wrote that. Mike wrote that. I never really fucking knew wholeheartedly. And that good on them, right? Because they had a way of sharing publishing evenly and whatever. And I'm the kind of guy, like I gave everybody even money. Even if you got banned from the studio by a fucking producer, which is going to go in the book, one of the guys, you know, because he couldn't pay, whatever. I'm still going to, you know, everyone, and they wanted to have camaraderie, so they never really told me. But now, the version I'm in now, these guys are unbelievable musicians. I mean, my drummer now, Austin, is so sick. We took him into 3 weeks of pre-production for this new record. And I went in every day. Almost every day, I should say, because it's drum pre-production. It can get very monotonous for a fucking singer, you know? Dude, watching that kid kill it, watching the producer go, no, do this, do that, and then him remember it and do it mathematically was like, fuck. So I'm surrounded by great musicians at this point right now, and good friends, you know, that are not they're not chasing it for anything other than the art. And you can feel it, can plainly feel it in the music that they do. I'm blessed.
Dude, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm super happy for you, man.
Thanks, man.
I'm really, really happy for you. That's killer. I'm excited for you getting. I think it's rad that you're dropping a record in the pandemic, which is, you know, a lot of bands decided to pull it back, which makes sense. But you know, you're going forward.
Almost everybody pulled back, Rob. So look, I had a conversation with a label. It's not a good business move to do it. I'm not going to sell as many. I don't know if I'm going to chart as high. I haven't gone backwards, even though physical sales have gone backwards. On my first week sales on every single record with DevilDriver, I have always gone up, either by 100 or 1,000 or 2,000. I've always gone up.
Yeah.
This will be probably a step back because of the pandemic. Here's what I believe. This is a people move. When do you need music the most? When you're a kid and you're fucked up in your room, girlfriend left you, there's no school, parents are assholes. Whatever it is, you need music. Okay, we got a fucking pandemic. People are locked in their fucking houses. You know what I'm saying? This is the time to release music, and especially such a personal record for myself. So I said, fuck it. And the label, God bless them, Napalm Records, man. Thomas is awesome.
Rad.
Great family friend, comes here with his wife. We surf together. He's great. But he said, okay, Dez, we're going to release. I feel you. Like, let's do it. You know, they could have very easily, as on a business side, and me being a label owner now, I don't know if I'm going to put my foot forward with my first band, like really, you know, say we all go into a second lockdown, all of 2021.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to be telling the first two bands that I just signed, 8 Calacas from here, which you'd love them. They're like ska, punk, metal, Mexican, fucking badass. One of the most, I took Jose to see them, and Jose from Sirius was like, this is the most insane band I've ever seen live. They're nuts. Horns, metal, and singing Spanglish, fucking awesome. So would I release them in Broken Jaw like next year if we're in a lockdown? It's not a good business move. But I applaud the label, man. And they've been getting behind.
I mean, you're you know, they're a baby band. You're an established band. It's a different. I mean, I think it, you know, I mean, what you're saying makes sense. And it sounds like what you're singing about is pretty timely, and that's important. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it'll work better in this time because the things that you're singing about, you know, singing about loneliness, you know, written in quarantine, you know, like that's going to resonate, you know, that's going to connect with people, you know, that's going to mean,
if you can give somebody,
maybe it's going to mean maybe more now than it does even, you know, in the future when things are better.
That's another thing. I don't know. I felt really strongly about it. Label backed me. My CEO, my manager, because Anastasia manages DevilDriver. I do not. I manage. I take care of Cradle of Filth and Ginger and 69 Eyes and a bunch of. But she plainly has the reins in on that. She was like, you know what, we should do this. You feel very strongly about this, so you know I feel good about it. That the fact that they all kind of backed it. You know. This
has been awesome, Dez.
I miss you, man. It's good seeing your fucking face. If we lived closer, homie, I'd be coming over giving you sauce recipes and shit, you know.
We can tell you, we'll text sauce recipes together, okay?
I mean, I got a boat.
I got a chili verde recipe. That'll fucking blow your mind.
Bring it.
So good. Fucking good.
We'll share. Just email me and I'll show you some stuff. I mean, I know you got a boat. I grew up going to the river. I'm a fucking river rat. Like I skied all my life, you know, one ski. So like
badass.
You know. So you ever want a river friend, man. Like me and the lady will come up, you know. So it's just good seeing you, man. And good knowing we're all still in it, you know. I know your podcast is doing well as well, right? It's doing well.
It is, man. It's killing it. Yeah, it's killing it.
Fun. Yeah. Someone said to me early on, you should do a podcast. I'm like, well, I'm so inadvertent. I'm such an introvert. It's going to be difficult. Talking to you is a different story. It's like getting on with an old friend. Like, I mean, we've probably been on, I don't even know.
3 hours. We just did 3 hours.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody else, like, there's not a lot of people on this fucking planet I could talk to for 3 fucking hours. But I miss you, homie. Yeah. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad your family's doing well. And bless you guys. And let's come out of quarantine. Well. Let's see this thing go well. Let's hope that society doesn't go to civil war and all this other shit that's people are talking about, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I see life get back to normal.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That right there was the one, the only Dez Fafara, DevilDriver, Coal Chamber here on No Fucking Regrets.
Fucking regrets!
with Robb Flynn.